All right, welcome into the Ryan Ripken Show, episode 41. And I know we were close to being on time. We said 6 o'clock. As you know, we kind of sometimes run late. It's not a habit we want to do, but it happens. And joining me in studio again, as always, Zach, you're always a part of this.
I know. I'm back and better than ever, although I guess I never left. So unlike Rocco, I like to show up to, every day.
Yeah, and Rocco's been off for a while.
Yeah.
It's the holidays. He works hard. He's a good kid. He will be back next week. Don't worry. And then there's Brad right behind the scenes. Brad, how we feeling?
Could be better, but doing all right. A little under the weather. That's all right.
But the show goes on. You don't like it, play better.
Grind it out. Got to grind it out. That's right.
Don't like it, play better. I love it.
Yeah, that's what we do. But hey, we do have someone filling the extra chair today. We haven't showed him yet. Give a round of applause for him. There, one more round of applause.
Oh, I was
there we go.
Me on the screen.
Hey,
we got Kevin Ostreicher with Locked On Ravens. Kevin,
Appreciate that.
Made me delay my clap for him because I came on screen. Okay, yeah.
There you go back. Kevin, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. This is awesome. I'm standing in as the short king for Rocco. I know we talked about
it,
but there's too much tall energy right now. So Rocco, if you're listening, when you get back, these tall people do not stand a chance. We're gonna get them.
It's gonna be multiple of them now. Under 6 foot crew.
Yeah, well,
it's growing too
under
fast.
5'10" crew for me.
Yeah,
I was giving you the benefit.
Well, I appreciate it. I outed myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like the camera only shows. I was just, I could be like, Kevin's 6'1".
I'm actually 7 feet.
Yeah, he's very tall. Gets a lot of rebounds.
I don't know what the hell's going on here, but I'll tell you what is going on for tonight, guys. We got a lot to talk about. And last week, or on, I guess it was Tuesday. Wow,
yeah,
I lose track of days. Tuesday, we had Nick Moore on talking a lot of Ravens. Well, guess what? We got a lot of Ravens talk for you, and we're going to go around Maryland like we do, talking about Ravens. Not that it's Orioles news in particular, but we're going to touch on a couple things that are Orioles related. What's spicy that's going around the Maryland world, plus what's spicy going around the rest of the NFL, and topics that you guys may have an interest in and not. Bob's Place, see that evening from, is that Pocomoke City, Maryland? Did I see that correctly?
Yeah, it's gonna be ask someone else but me. I couldn't. Yeah. I've been struggling to. In my head, I've been trying to pronounce that for like.
It's Pocomoke. It's Pocomoke.
Well, I love it. Well, hey,
Pocomoke.
Thank you for tuning in.
Pocomoke coin.
I was gonna pronounce it like Pokemole at first, but the K threw me off. Like Pokemoki.
Well, thank you. What's that in Billy Madison? It's like, we are all stupider now.
Yeah.
And
I feel like
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. Hey, let's Rocco's in the chat.
Yes,
there he is.
Yes.
There he is.
Can show up for the stream but not actually participate.
Is this the throne? Is this one?
Yeah,
that's his throne. That's his throne.
Rocco, I'm gonna do you proud. I'm gonna do you proud.
Oh yeah. All right, guys, let's get into it. First things first, let's get on our Adams Jeep. We know how to do it well. You're new to it, Kevin, but Zach, you know what to do. Well, follow Zach. You're riding on Adams Jeep.
You gotta ride it.
There it is.
Drive the Jeep.
We are riding the Jeep. And let's move into this. The first topic, and I didn't get a chance to talk about this on Tuesday. It's a little bit more personal. Wanted to open it up with Orioles related. It was the passing of Ryan Miner. For those that don't know Ryan Miner, he was a professional baseball player for the Baltimore Orioles, and then he coached for many seasons, specifically in the minor leagues with the Orioles. He was actually my manager back in 2019. And a lot of people remember Ryan Miner specifically. He was the person that replaced my dad to end the consecutive game streak back in 1998. The reason why I just want to bring this up is I know that in some cases, yes, that is the infamous moment. But for me, Ryan Miner was so much more than being a place in history. He was a tremendous human being. And so I want to tell people a story in 2018. And while I'm telling this story, I want you guys to know how good of an athlete he was, by the way. I'm going to add this to the stage.
Yeah, not just baseball.
He was a two-sport stud at Oklahoma. And I mean a stud. I believe he's the Big 12 basketball player of the year. He got drafted in the NBA, got drafted in the Major League Baseball. Dog.
Just a massive human being.
Massive, dude. Was a beast. But off of that, outside of the sports world, he was just a tremendous person. And why I bring it up in 2019, I had some rough things going on personally. I was trying to find myself, find my confidence. And I was trying to figure that out at a point in my career where I wasn't sure who I was. And he might not never truly notice this, but how he handles his demeanor, being calm, being relaxed, making you feel welcome and invited into the situations made me feel really, I don't want to say special, but made me feel at home. And coincidentally, that's when I turned my season around. I turned my career around in 2019, and it gave me the confidence that I could go out and play. And that was what he did. And unfortunately, cancer's a bitch. There's really no other way to say it. And he fought till the end. But I wanted people to know, one, how tremendous of an athlete he was in his own right, but two, that he was an even better person off the field. So I wanted to open it up with that. He's an amazing guy. May he rest in peace. I know a lot of people, you guys I know don't know him personally, but I just wanted to salute him because
What level was he your coach in?
He was my coach in high A for the Frederick Keys. I know, Brad, you get on me for calling it F-Town.
Yeah.
F-Town, baby.
The Frederick Freds.
Jesus.
Hey, don't hate on me with that, but great guy. Another news then, we'll move on with the connection a little bit with the Orioles, guys. And again, we had all Baltimore-related people here. Kevin, I think it's fair to say a lot of people wanted Josh Hader, but
Sure.
it's not going to happen. The report specifically.
Ooh, yeah, it ain't gonna happen. I can tell you that.
No.
So the reports are that Josh Hader wants a 5-year contract, he wants a similar contract to Edwin Diaz, whose contract was 5 years and over $100 million. And so, Kevin, I know you're a big O's fan, but realistically, this is exactly why the Orioles are not going to sign a pitcher like Josh Hader.
No, not to 100 million. I mean, it'd be a reunion story, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know it'd be a cool little thing there, but he's someone 100+ million. The Orioles they're not going to do it. We know they're not going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it was already when Craig Kimbrell signed, I would say the chances went already from low to extremely low. And now I will put a lot of money down on they do not even call Josh Hader, if they even have called him. I mean, especially, Orioles are in a spot right now where they're kind of moving 1 year at a time with the closer position because Felix Bautista's out. You get Craig Kimbrell in there for a year plus that option. There are a lot of places to spend 5 years over $100 million on the Orioles, and closer is not the spot right now, I don't think.
No, it's not at all.
No.
And here's the context of it. I don't blame Josh Hader for wanting to go get the bag, right? Well, go get the bag because someone's going to pay for a premium closer. They do. And if you saw some of these other middle reliever or even closer contracts, I mean, Craig Kimbrell got $14 million for the season upcoming, and that's for 1 year. So when you're looking at a guy who was one of the best pitchers in baseball last season, one of the best relievers in baseball, why wouldn't you want to maximize? And for his case, you don't know what's next for you. And he's at a point right now where he can cash in, and I believe he will cash in. It's just not going to be with the Baltimore Orioles, and that's okay. The Orioles are in a good position. We're going to talk more. The stove's cold right now, guys. It's icy cold.
It's annoyingly cold.
Yeah, it's not turning on, Kevin.
I saw the report that there's not going to be a big move until 2024. I mean, I'm not. And look, it's about long-term stability for Hader too, right? You don't want a 1-year deal. What happens? Is there an injury? Does he go down, and does that decrease his value? But you're right. The closer position with Batista being out, now that 7, 8, 9 would be really good. I'm not saying it wouldn't be good, but to spend $100 million on a Hader, again, you're right, Ryan. It's not the spot right now.
Yeah, in this economy too. But hey, it is almost 2024, and with that, it means that the stove should heat up soon enough. And we got a lot of other things that are heating up here on New Year's Eve that we're getting into soon here. But let's go around a little bit more around the region. How about the Terps, men's basketball, guys?
Yeah, I was just about to say, you want to talk about things heating up. Jameer Young is having a freaking season against UCLA. Big win for the Terps, by the way. Listen to these stats: 37 points, shooting 13 of 19 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Stud. I mean, that's what you need to do to go beat a team like UCLA. And he did exactly what he needed to.
Yeah, I mean, this is not – UCLA is struggling a little bit right now. This is not the UCLA of last year. They lost some guys, but the Terps were trying to find a rhythm. That's a big game to get that rhythm back. It's a confidence booster, especially going on the road. Now they play Coppin State tonight. hopefully to keep the momentum going as they get ready for more Big Ten play. And on the flip side, the women's team is idle. I think they're off until they play Nebraska on New Year's Eve. That's a team that's always been good. Hopefully they can continue that. I know it's maybe the expectations for them are not as strong as they were in the past, but that's still with Freeze at the helm there.
You can never count those girls out.
You can't. No. So I'm excited. It should be fun. And also in February, guys, Caitlin Clark and Iowa's coming. I would love to go see that game. And I think there's some things planned that we'll tell you about upcoming as we keep moving, going down to Washington. It's been a rough year. If you're a Commanders fan, if you're a Wizards fan, all the above. The only hope you have down there is the Caps, to be honest. The Commanders' Jacoby Brissett is starting this week. And maybe if you're a Scary Terry fantasy football, you drafted him on your team and you earned the championship.
That would be me.
That's you. Are you starting Scary Terry now with Jacoby Brissett?
My philosophy in fantasy is you start your studs, because what if you put a guy on the bench and that's the week he goes off? I ride or die with the studs, regardless of who it is. Now, the exception this year has been Najee Harris. I took a chance on Najee in like the fourth, like he would fall in the fourth, and I'm like, all right, I'll try. And then I had a bunch of Nick Chubb shares, and that went out the window, obviously, unfortunately.
Feel your pain on
You
that.
just kind of got to start him. But I'm starting Terry.
Brad can relate to the Nick Chubb. Brad's entire team, unfortunately, went down in the first 3 weeks.
Brad's entire team is hurt.
Let me go down the list. There was Kirk Cousins, Anthony Richardson, Nick Chubb, Mark Andrews, Mike Williams.
Man.
Yeah.
I think that was it.
Didn't you had someone else that you picked up like a tight end and then he went out like right before the game. I do remember that because
and then
we were sitting there.
Oh, and I had Geno Smith.
Oh,
and then like it was like the last game of the regular season. Had Geno Smith, and then of course, last minute gets
Drew Lock.
At the throw in Drew Lock. Yeah, it was just that kind of season.
I remember we were sitting there all day. And we're like, no, I think Geno's gonna be active. Like they're saying Geno's gonna be active. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna start Geno. And we're like, he's active. You started him, and then we're like halfway through the show, we're like, Brad, so even though he's active, he's not gonna play. And you were like,
oh what? Yeah, I had Keaton Mitchell too.
Oh yeah.
Gosh. I had Mark Andrews in a bunch.
Yeah.
And then I shamelessly for the past 2 seasons have been banking on the Michael Thomas comeback. Every single league.
Yeah, I live and die by that.
Every single one I drafted him. And it's just been disaster.
I was a big live or die with the I was between Rashad White for the Buccaneers, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go with the J.K. Dobbins revenge season. And now Rashad White. Yeah, I know. And then White's now like a top 4 fantasy back, and J.K. obviously the first few plays went out for the year. So it was one of those years. It really was.
It hurts. So and again, we care more about the guys on the field. It stings because J.K. Dobbins is a Raven, but fantasy wise, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
They don't care either. They do not care.
Which I love. Fantasy. I think it's so funny when guys like openly come out, except for Stephon Diggs.
Yeah,
Stephon Diggs did come out and say he does kind of feel bad when he ruins people's fantasy games or like parlays, and he sees it. He's like, I do feel kind of bad for you guys.
Well, Austin Eckler too. He does that whole thing with Yahoo, by the way. He looks at it, and actually, I understand his perspective. Fantasy football drives a lot more interest for people that don't watch their team if you participate in it. So hey, it does help with them, but I also don't. At the end of the day, fans of the teams that they want to have win, they just want their team to win. And that's what the players want. They only care about winning, and that's the way it is. But also, to finish off, the Commanders, they haven't been winning a lot of games. And also the Washington Wizards have not been winning a lot of games. They've covered some games. They're 5-25 on the season.
Great teams cover. Good teams win.
Good teams win. Great teams cover. All right, guys. I think we went around. Yep.
Before we get into the next topic, Ryan,
please.
I did have, we got the polls rolling. Had some pretty hard-hitting questions so far.
I know it.
First question of the night was, do eggs belong on burgers?
Okay, I was so confused why Joe randomly just put in the comments, fried egg on a burger is fire. We were like,
I thought it was an inside joke. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, Kevin asked us. He was like, is there an inside joke about this? I was like, no, I think there's a poll. I was like, I think there's just a poll.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should
61%, 61% of the audience says that eggs do belong on burgers.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'm not. I'm devil's advocate. I mean, I've had it once or twice. It's not me. I don't know. Although my eggs, I don't like them very runny. It's just a me thing. I know I'm very much like, look, scrambled eggs on a burger maybe is different, but you're talking like a sunny side up egg. I don't know. It's just not my thing. I don't know.
Scrambled eggs on a burger.
Yeah,
I've never had it. I'm just saying.
I don't think I've had scrambled eggs on a burger. I think it's just a fried egg or over
easy.
Easy.
Yeah.
So I think what we're gonna do here is we're gonna have Kevin try an over easy egg
on the
live
on
the
show,
live
we'll
on stream.
Okay.
Live on the stream.
Someone order the burger. Get the DoorDash.
Get DoorDash going.
Yeah, wait. DoorDash sponsor this, and we'll have Kevin DoorDash something every episode, and then he has to try it.
DoorDash sponsors me on Locked On.
There we go. We already
got there we go.
Oh,
There
humble
we
brag.
go.
Locked On Ravens, sponsored by DoorDash.
Just saying.
Hey, but speaking of that, because Kevin, you do cover the Ravens. Isn't that kind of weird?
Just a little weird.
A little Baltimore.
Coincidence.
Yeah, coincidence maybe, but hey, a lot of things are happening with the Baltimore Ravens right now. Obviously, a huge win in San Francisco, and we're going to dive into who they have on deck next. They got the Miami Dolphins. The number 1 seed is on the line at the bank, the True Bank, M&T Bank, this Sunday at 1 p.m. But before we get into that, Zach and Kevin, you guys, we need to talk about some spiciness around the team, or at least involving the Ravens. And the first one is because I have no idea what the hell any of this means. But Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown, was on his stream and had some comments previously about his time being in Baltimore. You guys, can you guys explain to me, if I've never been on social media, what the hell happened and what was the drama behind anything else? Because let's just face it, Brad and I, no clue.
It is.
It's weird. So these clips surfaced today, right?
Yeah.
They surfaced today. Marquise Brown went on a stream, and it was like a watch party, 49ers watch party. So he and a couple, the kids who were hosting it, they were live watching the game and, talked to him about it throughout it. And, throughout the stream, they asking him about the Ravens, asking him about his time, and had some very spicy things to say about the Ravens, which we'll get to here in a few minutes. But then one of the TikToker, right? Hoopin', who I have no problem with, came on, and I think a lot of other people have a problem with him. I'm not really into the We Hoopin' drama or anything. I don't know. Again, I have no problem.
Who the hell is that?
That's the thing, is like, I don't even really know. Like, I know he's a TikToker, and he's like,
and he's very animated especially after losses. And look, he's a passionate Ravens fan. We all are passionate fans, and sometimes we express that in different ways, reactionary. And so I think after the Bengals and Ravens game, he was doing a dance on Joe Burrow's jersey, and, so kind of it's that type of content. So again, if that's your thing, that's your thing. So Hollywood, apparently, this is what the host said, invited We Hoopin' on the stream. And We Hoopin' is someone who I think is very animated. And again, that's fine. That's what he does. Yeah. And people did not like that We Hoopin' was animated, based off the comments that I saw. But,
like I saw at one point, literally, like they were interviewing Hollywood and they were having like a serious conversation about something with Hollywood, like in the Ravens system and what he thought about Greg Roman. And We Hoopin' is muted, but he's just at the top of his lungs screaming into the camera. So like Hollywood is trying to give like a straight answer, and the other two are like very involved in the interview. And We Hoop is just like running around in the bottom left corner box and just screaming, like throwing his hands in the air. And that's where people were like coming at the kids that hosted this thing. They're like, why did you invite him? Like, he's ruining the interview. And then they were like, we didn't want him on there. Like,
that's just
it's controversy in the controversy.
Yeah, so there's just a lot. But yeah, no, let's get into what Hollywood said. I think we have that clip right here.
Yeah, can we put that on? Because I don't care about the other shit now. I just want to know what did Hollywood.
No, but what he's asking is because he doesn't call the plays, but he's still obviously there.
Like how much of it was when you were there with Greg Roman? How much of it was Roman? How much of it was Harbaugh? How much of it was like collaborative?
There he goes.
So it's Harbaugh. Harbaugh has a philosophy of how he want to play football. He go out and get the coaches that matches his philosophy, that how he wanted to play football, and then the coaches execute that philosophy. So it's like Harbaugh don't really call the plays or got no input on the plays. He just trusts the guys he brought in for that philosophy. Right. But now they had to change that philosophy because they realized that shit wasn't working.
No, it was not. And I know you were playing, but the fans did the talking for you guys in terms of how that was working. With Greg Roman at the end.
I wouldn't have no. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't have no issue with Greg Roman if they just didn't try to perceive it as like something else.
So you don't think it was as bad as they say it was?
No, it was bad. But like, if I'm a man and this is how I call my offense, and this is how I view, how I'm gonna win playing offense. I don't like how they like let the receivers take all the heat. So that's I was always like outspoken. I would be in the receiver room, even with Lamar, and when I made that tweet, right?
I know exactly.
Let me tell y'all. I'm driving the car, Lamar. I'm like, hey, bro, I made this tweet. He like, shit, go ahead. Like, something got to happen. So I'm like, I bet. I made it tweet. I'm a rookie. Like, I made it tweet. I don't care about no tweet.
Were you a rookie or was it second year?
It was my second year.
I thought it was your second year too.
Yeah, versus Steelers. I made a tweet, and I ain't think nothing of it. And then everybody went to like calling my phone. I'm like, all right, I took it down. But then everybody went to like taking that on me. I'm like, hey, bro, like I ain't the only one feel like this. But you feel me? It was just I didn't like how they handled it. Like I'd rather them say this our philosophy, like, and we all just play football and try to win. But don't try to make it seem like it's on the receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. I will say he makes a good point. I do understand where he's coming from and the fact that.
Hold on, time out. Before we get into the actual words that he said, can we just take a moment and just like, I'm still just wrapping my head around that entire conversation and what was going on.
There was a lot to.
You saw he was right up in the camera. He was right up in the camera.
Yeah, Hollywood Brown was talking to a bunch of children.
Yeah, it was just
I
so
give him credit
confusing.
for Hollywood looked relaxed in that interview.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's saying that in other interviews.
Like, it was just wild to me to see that because just weird. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then for him to like open up and kind of like say all those things to a bunch of kids.
Yeah, the context of it, you're having this kind of serious
adult conversation with
a serious question with so much other shit going on.
And I think that's where these kids were getting a lot of flack, and that's why they came out and said, like, okay, we didn't want we hooping on, because I mean, the kids were asking some great questions. I mean, there are a lot of clips from this interview that have surfaced today, and they got a lot of great content. Hollywood, as we just said, were very comfortable with them, but it did kind of seem it became so much less professional when you just see the one kid screaming into the camera and he keeps pushing his face all the way up into it. And it was just an interesting, I guess, just watching it, you didn't understand. But real quick, I did want to bring up just the that was the wrong one. Am I sharing the right one?
We already covered that.
Yeah, okay, I get that. That was my stats.
You just really liked Jameer Young.
I know.
Yeah, we get it.
That was my stats.
Goodness.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Here was the tweet that they were talking about. So this was after the Ravens, I believe, lost to the Steelers. And he said, what's the point of having soldiers when you never use them? Never.
With 2 exclamation points.
Yes. Actually, I will say this, in my friend group became like our rally cry. Like anytime anything would happen, like Hollywood would do anything. My entire friend group, it would be in all caps, just Soldier in the
that was
group
a lot
chat.
Of people, yeah.
And it would be good or bad. Like if he 80-yard touchdown pass, Soldier in all caps. Fumble, Soldier, all caps. It did not matter. He was just Soldier.
Well, that's just great.
Yeah.
No.
So when he talked about it, I was like, it had a special place in my heart. I was like, I know what tweet he's talking about.
Yes, you do. I just laughed your joke saying that Zach calling content creators kids.
Yeah, they honestly, I think they are like maybe 2-3 years younger than me.
Maybe.
Like,
they did a good job, though. They did a
great job. They did a good job. So let's talk about that for a second here.
I feel bad that they're getting flack because of just the one kid that Hollywood joined who was kind of making it look a little less professional.
Ridiculous. So let's just talk about the context of it again, because clearly we've known in Baltimore there was these tensions that were growing, whether it's between the fan base, between some players in the organization, or just the success or lack of success the team was having. They feel like the players weren't being utilized. Obviously, Hollywood Brown felt like he wasn't being utilized properly in Baltimore. But at the same time, Kevin, the Ravens over years, to Harbaugh's credit, people might not like to hear this, but the Ravens have been one of the most consistent organizations. And a big reason of that is because of John Harbaugh.
Yeah, well, I think that Hollywood didn't say anything that we didn't already know from a general perspective. He just gave more details. We knew he didn't want to be in Baltimore because of the offense. We knew that there were issues with Greg Roman, but they don't really care about the outside noise, and that's what makes them consistent. But when it's happening from inside the organization and you have clear, there are signals out there that the players are saying this isn't working, we need more, And we saw it on the field too, where the run offenses were great. But after 2019, the pass offense just didn't progress at all. And that's why you bring in Todd Monken, not to tear down what Greg Roman did completely, but to just advance it.
Yeah,
because
to build off it.
After 2019, they lost. It was so weird. They were the best rushing team in history. And then they lost their identity at the beginning of that 2020 season. And I'm just like, well, you know, you can run the ball, just run the ball. And they finally ran the ball in the last, month and a half of the season. And they averaged like 175 rushing yards a game. But again, when Marquise Brown is saying, yeah, you know, I wasn't on board with this. And when he left, I think literally it was the day after he got traded, he said, oh, well, I wasn't being used the way I wanted to be used. I want to feel like I'm a part of something. And then for the next year, just nothing happened. So the Ravens have been consistent. But the Ravens are really loyal. They like their guys.
Like I wonder if Hollywood Brown has any sort of regrets for requesting a trade, because you know the last season he was here, it was a 1,000-yard season. So I was always confused by that, as far as like, oh, I didn't feel like I was being used the way I should be. It's like he was producing a lot.
He also had like the 8th or 9th most targets in the league that year. Like him and Mark were side by side in terms of, it was receptions or targets. I can't remember the exact stat. It wasn't like it wasn't like he wasn't being targeted. I don't know.
I think it was
this year. This year he's caught for 574 yards.
And he's banged up right now. He's banged up, but also the production is just not there.
I think what I was going to get into is this is kind of an example of the grass is not always greener on the other side, where he thought, okay, the Ravens, although I'm getting these targets, I guess he wasn't happy with his production or his involvement. He thought, okay, I'm going to go with my college quarterback in Arizona. It's an aired out offense. Things are going to be great. And then it didn't happen. Kyler gets hurt. You know, the Arizona Cardinals become just a clown show, you know, firing people. Their coach decides after he's fired that he's not going to talk to anyone and goes to Costa Rica for like 3 months. Where did Kingsbury go?
Somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Something
he just Aaron Rodgers darkness retreat.
Yeah, like it was just a whole weird thing. And then, but I will say, give him credit. Hollywood did in another video in that interview say he has no problem with the Ravens. And he actually told them, because he was at the Senior Bowl, he told the Ravens to draft Zay Flowers. So he did say that.
Well, that's the thing is it's no knock. I don't want anyone to knock Hollywood Brown for wanting to leave Baltimore. And honestly, it sounds like the relationship, it was a respectful thing, and he was unhappy, and he had a conversation like a grown ass man and said, this is what I want. You know, I think it could help both sides. And that's what you want in business. At least in that case, you can be frustrated that you're not in a system that you want, but how do you handle yourself? Hollywood Brown still handled himself in that case.
Yeah.
Besides maybe putting out tweets, he's fine. Last thing I'll say with Greg Roman, I know that people really were soured by Greg Roman down the stretch. And Kevin, you brought this up, but I think it's still very important to mention that he was a very big part of the evolution of this Ravens team and for even helping Lamar Jackson get that first boost. Now, you're right. Lamar needed to keep growing and allow his game to progress. And that's what Todd Monken came in here to do. Give Lamar more freedom, give him the opportunity to advance his game. And there's no coincidence that we're seeing a Lamar Jackson playing at the highest level that he's probably played at with this new system, with the flexibility. But it just was the right time for Greg Roman to move on. And I'll tell you what, I know Hollywood, at least as a competitor, as an athlete myself, it does probably have to sting that you watch your former team and you see Zay Flowers coming to Baltimore and you see this team buzzing, and now they are right where they want to be, going for a championship, hopefully. And right now, the Cardinals, you're in another rebuilding situation where
you don't know who your quarterback is.
You don't know who your quarterback is, and you don't know where you're going to fit in.
I mean, he's a trade candidate this offseason, regardless of, I know the reunion stuff of Baltimore is one thing, but
I don't see
Kyler might not be there. And the Cardinals had a vision when they got him. They paired him with DeAndre Hopkins, and they signed a bunch of veterans. Rodney Hudson came in as their center. They had this vision, but their defense was just so awful that the injury to Kyler obviously messed up their whole timeline. To where now, again, the Ravens are kind of soaring a lot. And the thing with Greg Roman is it was just too much at the end. I mean, everything that we saw with the play clock going, I still, see 3, 2, 1. And I'm like, oh my, please.
And the worst part was you could look up articles about Greg Roman from his time in San Francisco over 10 years prior. And I remember it was this one columnist, and he was like, Greg Roman is incredible at the run scheme, but he leads the league in delay of game penalties. And I was like, this is 11 years later, and we still haven't gotten past this. So
there's
there's
a bigger trend in that too, where he has one great year with the team. San Francisco, Colin Kaepernick, first year was awesome, you know, that year. And then it just kind of fell off a cliff. Went to Buffalo. Tyrod Taylor in Buffalo had a great year his first year, fell off a cliff. Lamar Jackson, great there. And this is from a passing perspective. And then it just never grew. So the argument from me is that, they should have probably moved on from him after the year prior to last season. But again, the Ravens are a loyal organization. It's part of what makes them one of the best, if not the best. I think they are the best in the league. But sometimes they can be a little over loyal. And I think that the trade-off with being over loyal to what the consistency has been is the right trade-off. But again, you kind of wonder, well, what if this was year 2 of Todd Monken? Or maybe Monken probably wouldn't have left Georgia for the year.
But
again,
the
situation, right?
Yeah, the move happened when it was supposed to happen. You could say it's too late. It should have been early, whatever it may be. Right now, though, the Ravens are in a great position. Greg Roman left his mark on the team. There's a lot of positives. And
yes.
And thankfully for the Ravens, your team now, knocking on wood, Lamar Jackson plays, regardless of the system, the Ravens always have a chance. But it's really exciting what they're building here. Just interesting to see a player's perspective and talk about theories, bringing up things from the past, that the article you're talking about. But speaking of theories and,
I think, Brad, you have a poll real quick?
Brad with the poll?
Yes. I just finished up a poll and I started another one. But
yeah, you did.
Another controversial question here.
Oh, boy.
Does pineapple belong on pizza? And honestly, I'm shocked at the amount of people.
What were the results?
I'm going to need to
84% said yes.
Really?
I will also say yes. I will side.
Maybe this
I'm coming with controversial takes tonight.
Yeah, I think it's just because I just don't know if I like I'm not the biggest pineapple fan to begin with. So I think that's pineapple on pizza. I wouldn't get upset about it, I don't think, but I'm not going to be like, yo, let's get some pineapple on this pizza.
It's not one of your first choices.
Yeah,
exactly. I think that's exactly.
I'm not going to say no to it.
Yeah, I like pineapple too, but that's not one of the first, second, or third options. But if it's in front of me and it's on the pizza, your boy's gonna eat it.
Right. Yeah,
I will say
it's not like I'm not touching it if it's there. If it's the only option, fine, I'll eat it. I mean, my personal mushroom is my favorite, which is another controversial topic in its own right.
Kevin has come on the show and just slung out these controversial foods. This is like Marlon Humphrey.
I have to stand out.
I know. This is it's all
He's a weird food guy.
Yeah,
well, you're doing a great job of that.
Thank you.
Kevin. I do like mushrooms too, but that is definitely not one. That is not.
That's
on
my
go.
Oh, mushrooms my go-to. Oh, I will own it. Mushroom.
Okay,
yeah.
don't.
Why did a Canadian concoct the first Hawaiian pizza?
Huh? I didn't know that.
I know.
It's because it's got Canadian bacon on it.
Oh, that's
good point.
Way to go, Brad. This
Way to
is why
use context clues.
That's. All right, let's get back onto this. We got what? What do you got? You got one more point?
Real quick, as we get into some of the other topics later in the show, I wanted to get ahead of this one because I thought it was really a really important poll about Russell Wilson. We know about the news already about how he's been released. So I wanted to get ahead of this real quick, and then we can revisit it later in the show. But where does Russell Wilson land next year? I'll put a couple of options in there. We're going to give our own later on in the show. So stick around, stay tuned. I'm really curious to see where people think he ends up.
Yeah, make sure to answer that because we have some
spicy.
Not totally. Yeah, I was gonna say we have some.
They're a little spicy.
Some spicy takes on where we think he ends up.
All right. Well, and I guess some can call those theories.
Ooh.
Maybe it's not necessarily a conspiracy because it feels like Russell Wilson's going to be leaving. We'll dive into that. But how about a conspiracy theory, guys? And Kevin, you brought this to our attention. The conspiracy theory that's been going around, and the reason why we're bringing this up with the Ravens, so the Ravens just played the 49ers. But Kevin, there's a conspiracy theory that is around the San Francisco 49ers, and whoever plays the 49ers and wins, things have happened to that opposing team's starting quarterback.
Yes, and late last night, I think, is when it really took off. It was a TikTok, and do we have the clip, or what are we doing with it?
I don't know if we have the clip because
I have it pulled up. Let me have it. But it's I'm superstitious myself, right? I have some superstition in me, but this is just like a whole nother level of a conspiracy where the 49ers have lost 4 games all season. And the games they've lost outside of the Ravens, they've scored 17 points. And every team that they've played, the Browns, well, they lost. The Browns, the Vikings, and the Bengals. Deshaun Watson, out for the year. Kirk Cousins, out for the year. And Joe Burrow, out for the year. So the Ravens, they play the 49ers. They beat them, but it wasn't by... They didn't have 17. They had 19, and I think we all know why.
Yeah.
The Ravens had 19. I'm putting the clip.
Here, I can
Are you
share it real
up?
quick.
Okay.
Yep.
Here, share it. We'll play it for everyone to see right now, and also we'll react to it on the other side. Okay.
I love it.
Just
I love
next
this so
level.
much.
Next
I love this
level.
so much.
I know, but here's the thing. First off, how much time do you have on your hands to come up with this theory? And the thing was, it was all good for me. Like, I'll entertain a conspiracy theory. Yeah, sure, why not? But when it said time travel to save Lamar Jackson, guys, that shit lost me.
Should we test it right now? If time travel is real, we have to have our future selves come right back to this show live.
Who says no?
Yeah. I don't think they're coming.
No one came. Time travel.
Rocco probably would have been here by now.
Rocco is
even time travel. Rocco would have showed up a long time.
Yeah. Well, Rocco's having like a sugar cookie cocktail or whatever the hell that is. Does anyone know what that is?
I don't know, but he keeps texting about it.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
It's very
sugary,
feminine.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of crazy, and maybe that for all the conspiracy theorists, the NFL scripted confirmed.
I just love everything, like you said, that someone took the time to put that together and dig that deep into it. It's just one of those every few days, like the internet produces something that you're just like, oh, that's incredible. Like, it's so dumb, but you're like, this is why we keep coming back to the internet. That bought another week of me on the internet. Like, just the fact that there are people out there that'll spend their time doing that. That's why you have to keep coming back to the internet. It's just too fun.
The internet's a really great place, a weird place, and an awful place. It's literally everything all in once. And I don't even know how to fully describe this place. It's probably why I stayed off, social media for a while when I was growing up. I couldn't handle it. And even now, I don't think I can handle it. But hey, we're here now. We're involved with it. Let's talk about some things that are real, though, guys. And obviously, what's real, the Ravens are playing some really good ball right now. And a lot of people are starting to, I guess, believe it. For some reason, people didn't want to believe that the Ravens are one of the best teams. I think that's kind of safe to say.
Yeah.
And we're not going to play the clip here of Colin Cowherd talking about it, but Colin Cowherd was coming to defense of how great Lamar Jackson is. I think, Kevin, you had the exact tweet about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
On why, and this is important to me because so many people were trying to diminish Lamar's impact. And if you watch the game and if you've watched the Ravens the entire season, to me, and to Colin's points, the numbers don't always tell the story, Kevin.
No, they don't. And again, it went on a 5-minute heater. I know we're not going to play it, but pretty much, and Colin's been a guy who, wasn't sold on Lamar to start, but credit to him. He came out and pretty much apologized, said he was wrong, and went on a 5-minute heater yesterday. In the quote that I put out on Twitter was, MVP is not about stats singularly. I want you to remember the words impact and influence. Lamar Jackson is easily the most influential NFL player this season. And it's true because, look, you talk about the Ravens offense, you have to have context. Gus Edwards has, 11 touchdowns this year?
12, I believe.
12, whatever it is.
12.
It's over 10, I know that.
Yeah.
But if half of those go to Lamar, if the Ravens, they're a run team still. I know there was all this made about Todd Monken coming in, they're going to throw 50 times. They don't. They don't throw all that often. And that's why when I go through my stats, I don't use total yards. I use yards per attempt when it comes to football because, you throw the ball 300 times, you're going to have more passing yards than a team that throws the ball 100 times. It's just is what it is. It's how efficient you are. And Lamar's metrics are really good this season. And plus, 2 straight games on primetime where you just watch the game, right? You just watch the game and you see him. Defenders can't bring him down. They don't know what he's going to do. And the quote that stood out to me actually was Nick Bosa talked after the game. And we've seen Lamar be really good about kind of floating in the pocket this year, waiting for receivers to get open and not really taking rushing lanes immediately if they're there. And the 49ers caught on to that. And Nick Bosa said, we were thrown off guard because he did the exact opposite. He adjusted and took the lanes. And we couldn't, that 31-yard run on, what was it, 3rd and 16 after the Ronnie Stanley face mask. I've never seen Fred Warner look so lost on a play.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, he's unbelievable. And I'm not trying to discredit what Brock has done or what Tua's done or Dak or Tyreek or Christian McCaffrey, all those guys. But you can't just look at purely stats and say this guy has more passing yards than this guy and he's the MVP. There is so much more that goes into it. And I think people are starting to see it, but I just don't know what else Lamar has to do here because to me, he's the front runner and it's not really close.
Yeah, I mean, your point about just juking out Fred Warner on that one play. Fred Warner, if I personally believe Roquan Smith is number 1 for middle linebacker. If there's 1A, then Fred Warner is 1A. I mean, for him to, like you said, I've never seen a player like Fred Warner. Usually, Fred Warner comes down, play is over. Like
he's like if Roquan got juked out, like we'd all just be like, "What just happened?"
Like, whoa!
Right?
And so it really is one of those things. And I forget who said it on ESPN, but it made sense when you watch the game. It's the eye test of, okay, statistically speaking, you can look at that and name who you think the MVP is. But when you watch the games, when Lamar steps on the field, there's no question of who the best player on the field is. A lot of players, even though they're, and once again, not taking away anything from Brock Purdy or guys on San Francisco, there are so many guys that are insane on San Francisco. The Trent Williams, Debo's, Ayuk, CMC, Purdy, Kittle. I mean, right there, I named 5 and forgot Kittle, their star tight end. It's hard to say at any given moment who the best player is on that field. I think that does hurt guys like Purdy and like the MVP case because he does have so much talent around him. Whereas when Lamar plays, you watch it and you're like, this can't go without him.
And it's another thing as well, just quickly, because Brock Purdy gets injured in this game and gets taken out. What did Sam Darnold do on the next drive? He led a touchdown drive. We know the impact Lamar has because we've seen the Ravens play without Lamar. Lamar raises the ceiling and raises the floor of the Ravens. And it just is what it is, where I use the words, most valuable player. What does that mean? Who's the most important player to the team? I know if you're talking about the NBA, LeBron James should have won it, 15 times now. So that's not exactly how the award is based. But again, this isn't like Lamar has 1,000 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns this year.
No,
he doesn't have the most in the league, but it's not like he's done nothing this year. And it's not like the Ravens have played poorly and they're the 7 seed, right? This is Lamar Jackson, who's leading the team with the best record in the NFL, who can clinch the number 1 seed on Sunday. It doesn't just go, it goes beyond stats, it goes beyond the player, but how is that player leading his team and what's the team success? Well, Lamar passes that test of flying colors too, because they're the best team in the league right now.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and Joe S. and
we got all brilliantly put. He put this perfect.
Yes, so Joe, and hey, thank you for joining us. We got the Joes. We got Joe S. We got our Joe from the beginning, Joe R. And then we also got Joe Flacco that we talked about quite a bit.
Joe F.
Yeah, Joe F. But it's hard to understand Lamar's full impact because it doesn't look exactly like other great quarterbacks. Make no mistake, he influences outcome of games more than just about anyone. And Joe S., that's beautifully put, because that is the reality. I think when people look at Lamar Jackson and they look at how the quarterback position has been played for the last couple decades, and then you look at the greatest quarterback of all time with Tom Brady, if you're looking at success, stats, championships, Tom Brady looks a lot different than Lamar Jackson's style of play. You name it, everything. But what people continue to forget is that Lamar Jackson, what's the goal, guys, when you go out to play any competitive sport? What's the goal? To win.
Win the game.
Who wins games? Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has the second most wins behind Patrick Mahomes since he came into the league. And he's missed some games, obviously, the last 2 seasons. Lamar Jackson, when he faces top talent, top teams this year, by the way, and we've seen it this year, played the Detroit Lions. That team's supposed to be pretty good. He played pretty damn well against them, didn't he? How about the LA Rams, another playoff team right now that arguably is probably that sneaky dark horse?
That's a team that if you asked guys in the NFC who you do not want to play in the playoffs. It's got to be the Rams. I mean, talk about a team hitting on all cylinders.
That was a character win. That was a character win.
And so my point is, with all of this, Lamar Jackson that game, 3 touchdowns, leads a comeback game-winning drive, and then the Rams actually, tied the game up, sent it to overtime. Played well against San Francisco, the best defense besides the Ravens in the NFL, best pass rush, I think, is what people would look at with who they have on that side of the ball. And my biggest thing, this is the credit, and I said this last time, listen to the peers in the NFL. Listen to everyone talk about Lamar Jackson. None of them are going, yep, he's not that good, not talented. Everyone's like, damn, we don't know how to stop him. And I think that is the biggest testament, is when your fellow athletes at the highest level are going out there and saying, you are an incredible player. You deserve to be the MVP. Some people are saying you are the best player in the league right now. I think that is a point that people have to remember. That's no knock to everyone else. There's fantastic players, but Lamar Jackson deserves it. And quite frankly, and this is not fair to Lamar, but people are going to continue to doubt Lamar until he wins a Super Bowl, at least gets there.
And then figure something else out.
They're going to,
they'll figure something else out to hate on him for.
Yep. So speaking of that, should we dive a little bit into because I know we want to talk a little bit about Patrick Queen, and obviously got the angry run, but I don't think we have the video on that. So people that don't know,
yes,
Patrick, we do have the video. Never mind. We have the video on it. So let's talk about it for a quick second. Patrick Queen got the angry run. The T-shirts are out. And I just think it's great because Patrick Queen has had a phenomenal season. And if we can right now, we want to play the video of Patrick Queen being awarded, but in PQ fashion, he does more than just take the award, so to speak.
I want to thank you for giving me the scepter for this week. I really do appreciate it, but I think there is somebody who is more deserving of the Angry Runs scepter, and that would be my man, Isaiah Likely.
Man, my dog PQ, he a great guy. I mean, y'all already see,
I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? All pro linebacker, in my opinion, should be in everybody's opinion. All pro guy, do it. You know what I'm saying?
Do it. Come get my boy chance. Why don't you be Patrick's queen?
Oh my goodness. Y'all gonna embarrass me on TV.
Nah, you good.
Oh my.
Because you that guy.
I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. But he is more deserving. The stiff arm was sick.
He wasn't lying. That stiff arm was nasty by Likely. He put him on his ass. But just goes to show you how genuine of a guy PQ is. And for Dua Lipa out there, if you are interested, people love him. Everyone's going to bat for PQ right now.
And just a little background. The Angry Runs thing is Kyle Brandt on Good Morning.
Yes. On Good Morning Football.
Each week picks a certain player who had an incredible run, play, something. Obviously, Patrick Queen in that interception because he broke out of tackles. He got the Angry Run of the week. Gus Edwards won it earlier this year. So Patrick Queen's first defender of the year to win it, Kyle said, and then gives it in good old-fashioned Ravens fashion to his teammate because this team just everything's together. And that's why, how can you not love it? How can you not love it?
The vibes are high. That's the real-life version of thanks for letting me borrow your Lamborghini.
Yeah,
in the
literally.
comments on Twitter. But I think Likely should have won the award. Like,
look at
not
this.
taken away from Patrick Queen.
Ooh,
I think that his run was
him.
awesome. But yeah, you see the clip. Look at that. I mean,
get
perfect,
off of him.
Perfect form, stiff arm from Isaiah Likely. So I think both guys deserved it. I think the scepter did end up in the hands of the right person.
Yeah.
But the fact that the Ravens had an offensive and defensive player even nominated for the award is ridiculous.
I mean, that just shows you the physical style of how they played in general. They went in pissed, they played pissed, and they ran pissed when they had the ball in their hands. Really great game for the Ravens. But here's the reality, guys. Nothing will matter for the Ravens if they don't come back this Sunday and beat the Miami Dolphins. Because why? Well, the number 1 seed's on the line, right? And not that you can't go to the Super Bowl. We know you can be any seed, but this matters to Baltimore because you're trying to flip the script of what happened in 2019. And you have a great opportunity to once again play a Dolphins team, which, by the way, last year, guys, a lot of Ravens fans, the team has that bad taste in their mouth after that collapse in the fourth quarter. It's going to be a massive game. Make no mistake, the bank is going to be rocking. I'm kind of glad it's also not a night game on New Year's Eve. Can you imagine how chaotic that would be down there at the bank?
I think the game deserved like the actual optics of it deserved it.
Yeah.
But I just, would have been crazy down there.
The way that I viewed it is it was just a lot, like happening all at once, because then the game takes you up pretty much close to midnight. It affects everything. Now you can kind of create 2 days out of it, make it a Ravens, like, okay, up until 4, like it's a Ravens game. And then you're like, got a moment or two. And then you're like, okay, what are we doing for New Year's Eve? Just go with it instead of like, time ends. And then you're like, it's midnight in 30 minutes, so it just calms everything down.
Yeah, it kind of calms it down.
Yeah.
But the stakes can't be any higher. They really can in Baltimore, and both teams understand that. And there's a lot of respect for both sides, both on the Dolphins and the Ravens. And Mike McDaniel, and I feel like everyone loves Mike McDaniel. You could probably say Brad thinks I'm corny and quirky. I think Mike McDaniel has those moments, but he might be way cooler than how he delivers it. But Mike
much cooler.
Well, I mean, yes, obviously.
Well, I'm just saying, I love Mike McDaniel.
And a lot of people do, and rightfully so. But Mike McDaniel, very, very complimentary of Lamar Jackson heading into this game on Sunday. And we wanted to play the clip of Mike McDaniel's comments for you all to listen to.
Offered my skill set to be scout team quarterback to try to replicate it, but it was not accepted. So it's hard to even give an appropriate look. He's just that type of player, and outside of this game, I'm just happy for the player, because what I recognize is, you talk about an unbelievable talent, but even him, he's had to say, he's had to define himself. He's had people tell him what he is, and he disagrees. And how can I tell? It's not because I've had a conversation with him. I see better, I hear.
I think that's wonderfully put. And yeah, go ahead.
He did not want to leave any bulletin board material out there. And he meant what he said. He's being very genuine about it. And I think it's really cool that, people within NFL circles, we talked about it earlier, they respect Lamar. They love Lamar's game. Yeah. And again, a lot of this controversy just comes from talking heads. And I know the Mike Florio stuff is all over the place right now, but you have to feel so bad for the 49ers. You talk all week about how good Lamar is. Debo goes out there, compliments Lamar, and then all of a sudden you wake up on Friday and there's just all this hate out there. So Mike McDaniel was probably like, look, I'm gonna say everything I can, but he really meant it. I think it was really cool what he did.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think I said this on Twitter. Mike McDaniel is, I think, so good for the NFL, because when you see him, you don't think that's an NFL football coach. He's this tiny, nerdy looking guy that walks in and you're like, you lead a top NFL leading football team. And he's got this personality where it is this corny, funny type, but he's a football genius and he just loves football so much. And you can tell how much he appreciates the guys like Lamar Jackson, and he has fun with it. And I think everyone enjoys playing for him. His clips are always incredible. And I think he's just one of those guys where he's great. He's extremely marketable. He's got a great personality, and he's on a great, lovable team at the moment. So it really is just like kind of the best of all worlds for the NFL with him.
And he makes that team lovable too, by the way. It's that his demeanor and being able to lift others up. And by the way, people don't know like Mike McDaniel's backstory. I mean, he's had a rough go personally. Extremely. And to see him transform his own life and go to places that he probably dreamed of, but it was kind of falling off the tracks, and to see him get back on track and be able to help transform not only hopefully the culture for Dolphins fans, but even for Tua, bringing a quarterback back that everyone was putting on the back burner. And now this team is believing what they're capable of doing. And and they have so many great weapons. Now it looks like Jalen Waddle's not going to be playing in this game, Kevin. I believe I saw he has a high ankle sprain.
That's right.
So in this case, they could be down a couple guys, but still one of the most explosive teams in the NFL. And we saw that last year here in Baltimore. And the Ravens defense is going to be ready, and it's going to be led by a guy named Roquan Smith. We've mentioned him a few times. And we actually wanted to play, though, Nick Moore, long snapper for the Ravens, out for the season. Was actually been teammates with Roquan since his time at Georgia. They were teammates back at the University of Georgia. Wanted to play this clip, and then Kevin, I want you to explain defensively what the transformation's been for the Ravens and what this is going to look like when they play the Dolphins. But Brad, I think I have the clip hiding right here. We can play this about
you're not, and you're going to get out, and Rowe he kind of forces. Yeah, I mean, you're either going to get up to his level or you're not, and you're going to get out, and Rowe he kind of forces guys, not in a bad way. You don't have a choice. Like when you're around somebody like that, who's the top of what they do, and they're the guy that's working the hardest, and he's like, he loves it. He wants that physicality. He wants to be in someone's face. He's hitting every single play he's in on the pile, whether he's making the tackle or he's jumping on the tackle. That guy's in there all the time, and it's infectious when you see that as a player, and with a guy like that who is at the top, and he's the one that's hustling every play. He's outrunning everybody. He's never giving up on a play. You don't have a choice but to do that. Like you're like, I'm doing it too. Damn, I'm right there with you. And then you get 11 guys doing that, and you get what we have right now.
And what we have right now is a dominant unit. And it's not just one player, but Kevin, when Roquan Smith came over, you could feel everything change in Baltimore. And I think even the numbers back it up.
Yeah, 100%. And Jameson Hensley put out this article back in November, so we're about a month out of that. But they call it the Rowe effect over there in that locker room. And so the Ravens last year, before they acquired Roquan Smith, they ranked 24th in yards allowed. They gave up 364.3 per game, and they were 20th in points given up at 22.9. And at the time of this article, they had played 19 games. That number dropped from 364 yards to 280. That's the NFL's fewest. And then from 22.9 to 15.2 in points. And he's gotten the Ray Lewis stamp of approval. Those guys have watched film together. They've established a bond, I feel like, since Roquan has gotten to Baltimore. And you're right, he wants to hit somebody. He wants to establish, and I don't know, the clip of him during the 49ers game, his teammates were talking trash, and he says, no, we let our pass do the talking. We let our pass do the talking. He wants to show it, and he has said he has plenty of, these analogies and clips that have gone viral, but he's somebody that if you don't play him the right way, if you come into a game and you're like, oh, you know what, this is going to be something, they're not as physical as we really think they are. The Ravens shifted their entire defensive identity really since the Smith trade happened. They kind of went away from the finesse guys. Like, for example, Justin Houston, great finesse guy, third down pass rusher, made an impact in Baltimore. Who do they bring in to replace him? Essentially, it's Jadeveon Clowney, who's one of the most physical edge defenders in the NFL, essentially one of the best run defenders in the NFL, and has had a career year. Marcus Peters was known as somebody who couldn't really tackle at times and put in that effort, was known more as a ball hawker. While he hasn't played this year, Rocky Yassin suplexes guys on the field and is a physical guy. So Roquan is the face of the physicality. But the entire Ravens defense has bought into it, and Roquan's an exceptional leader for them to do it.
Yeah, I agree. And Zach, we talked about this going into this game now with the Dolphins. Where did Mike McDaniel come from?
I believe he's under the old Shanahan tree, isn't he?
Exactly. So I want you to touch a little bit on for the Ravens going from with this physical defense, and they are facing a similar scheme. Now it's different, obviously, with different weapons, but that might be to the Ravens' advantage on a short week.
Yeah, I think that this gives the Ravens a very good advantage. Obviously, like we just said, it's not going to be the same system. Very different players. Waddle is not playing, so that takes a whole different dimension out of that offense. But Patrick Queen the other day in the press conference made the statement that you can play, quote unquote, basketball on grass. You can do the gimmicky stuff. You can get cute and try to get us, leaning, try to trick us pre-snap. But he said at the end of the day, you're going to get hit. You have to play football, and that's their mentality. And the Ravens come out with this defensive mentality of you can do all this, reverses, motions before the snap. Cool. At the end of the day, you have to snap that football, and you're going to have to get hit. And it's just another great test for the Ravens. We talked about this earlier. In where they are, where they want to be, in meaning the 1 seed, they want to go to the Super Bowl, you have to beat these types of teams. And so now you're getting another look at this type of offense to see, okay, what are our strengths against this type of offense? Because it's the same offense you're going to see like we just did with San Francisco. Obviously in Miami, if you have to run into the Rams again, It's all the same coaching tree. A lot of these guys run very similar things. So it's a good test to see, okay, we passed the first one against San Francisco. We showed that we can still bully people even when you get us off balance on these different swing passes, getting in space. Now can we do it against another test in the Miami Dolphins?
And in the Dolphins, they've done a lot of great things so far, right? And I like that you brought that up. The coaches are going to bring their own style and their own, flair to the systems. Everyone does it, but there is some similarities there, and that could help the Ravens. Now let's play devil's advocate. We know how good the Baltimore Ravens are. We think that they can beat any team. They've proven it. They've had a lead in every single game. Could be undefeated, but they've lost some tough games, but because they didn't finish, right? And thank you, DJ Girl, that good luck. Buying a stove does not sound fun.
No.
Yeah, man.
That's what I was just about to say when I put it up. I was going to say, I've never purchased a stove, but
It's a big purchase.
Yeah, I was going to say congratulations. I think that's like a big thing to do the stove.
Well, it's either it's a big thing or something went terribly wrong.
I guess it could be like you had to go get a new stove. So,
yeah. Well, DJ,
either congrats or we're sorry.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
And thanks for coming in. Happy New Year. So, guys, my point that I wanted to get to, we think the Ravens, we brought it up. They have been a dominant team. They can beat anybody when Lamar's on the field, all this. What would it take then? And Kevin, I'll start with you. What would it take for the Dolphins to come in here and win the game? What has to happen for Miami to win?
Well, I think one of the things is this Ravens defense doesn't let people beat them deep. I mean, they play the two highs, and the Jamal Agnew touchdown against they played Jacksonville in week 15. I was like, is that the first deep touchdown the Ravens have given up all season? Because they don't like that. But I think the red zone defense is going to be really key. Miami's been pretty good in the red zone the entire season. The past couple weeks, especially against Dallas last week, they haven't really done a good job of it. But the Ravens this year, they have the third best red zone defense in the league, 38.6% allowing a touchdown. That's really good. It's really, really good. But again, the Ravens' philosophy on defense is you can take the short stuff. You can go take the intermediate stuff. But once you get down inside our 30, inside our 20, we're going to tighten up. And you can either kick a field goal or we're going to turn you over. And they feel good enough in their offense, I think they should, that Lamar Jackson can beat a team that kicks field goals the entire game. And that offense can beat a team that kicks field goals the entire game. I also think being able to make Miami one-dimensional, Raheem Mostert, is really good. I know he's coming into this one with an injury, but if he plays, they still have Von A-Chain, who's explosive. He and Keaton Mitchell were going, when Keaton was still healthy, he and Keaton Mitchell were going head to head in terms of efficiency for running backs across the league, honestly. So he's great, but it's about bottling up Tyreek Hill. If you let Tyreek Hill go off on you, it's let someone else beat you. It's the saying in all of sports. Go bracket Tyreek Hill, cloud coverage, whatever you want to do. Let Cedric Wilson beat you. Let Braxton Berrios beat you. Some of these tight ends, you can't let Tyreek Hill beat you. And if you do, you're probably not in a good spot.
No, I think you hit it nail on the head. If there's going to be a guy who beats you, do not let it be Tyreek, because we saw last year when the Ravens had a massive lead, how did they give it up? Because of the deep ball to Tyreek. He beat Marcus Peters twice over the top, 14 points just in the blink of an eye, and all of a sudden the Dolphins are back in it. You can't get beat by the deep ball against this team. That's what they are looking to do. They want to run the ball, get you just a little bit comfortable, bring up those guys just a little bit, because all Tyreek Hill needs is for you to step 1 foot up and he's gone. So it's going to be disciplined and let someone else beat you. Stay with your guy and don't get beat over the top.
Hey, you guys want to know a fun little stat here, by the way, with Tyreek Hill? Until last week, where he finished with 9 catches for 99 yards. Still great game, right?
Horrible.
It was the first game that the Dolphins, when Tyreek's played, the first game that the Dolphins have won when Tyreek Hill has had less than 100 yards receiving.
Wow.
Their losses. Sorry, I lied. There's one other game, and it was it was close. No.
We were so close.
It was so close. No. This is where I was. I'm sorry. And that was the second week of the season. They beat the Patriots, where he had 5 catches for 40 yards. All right.
Okay,
that was the only game, and that was the second game of the season. That loss to Buffalo, 3 catches, 58 yards. The loss to Philly, 11 catches, 88 yards. Loss to Kansas City, 8 for 62. The loss to Tennessee, 4 for 61. Now, granted, he was banged up that game, but I think you're seeing you're seeing a trend here, and you're right. You guys mentioned it. When Tyreek goes off, the Dolphins usually win.
Yeah.
That's it. Just hold him under 10 yards a catch.
Yeah.
I mean, if he goes 8 for 44 or 9 for 75, like that's
so
fine.
fine.
But if it's 10 for 107 or 11 for 150, you might be in a bad spot there. You can't let him beat you over the top. You're right.
Yeah. And the thing is, if he does get it, he's just over 1,600 yards right now. If he gets over the top and he gets close to it, you know, if he gets 200 yards and he's pushing towards 2,000, they probably are going to win this game, and Tyreek's going to be a huge part of that. Let's hope it's not the case. Hey, Joe, leave the stats to international superstar Zach. Well, how about should I be the star, or should I start to take over the Red Bull cases?
Yeah, I think you should. You'll get the Red Bull. I'll deal with. I'm international. I do have to say international because Canada posted the Johnny tweet.
Yeah,
TSN. So
not a big deal.
International, you know.
See, Kevin,
with the Canadians.
Kevin, this is what Brad and I have to deal with.
We're in the presence of a superstar, Ryan. I don't know what to tell you.
Goodness.
My biggest break is just because Lamar was bored in London. You know, who would have thought? Bored on Twitter in London, and then I made it on SportsCenter. Don't you just love it?
Well, I guess before that, you came on the Ryan Ripken show.
Oh,
but thanks. Yeah, I'm glad that means something to you.
Remember where you came from.
Yeah. Brad, you hearing this? I know you.
Ryan
do.
Ripken show named after Ryan Ripken.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing of it is like we were super pumped for Zach, and now Zach's just letting it get to his head.
Yeah, seriously.
I didn't even really bring this up. Joe did. You know, this wasn't even me. This wasn't
Yeah,
even
but
me.
you ran with it big time.
Oh, of course I was going to run with it. I mean, like, you know, if you put me on a track, I'm going to run.
Not well, but
no, not well.
Hell no. But you're still a good kid. You're learning. You're learning as we go. This game's going to be exciting. I think all of us, though, if we go around the panel here, Ravens are going to get this done at home. Kevin, start with you.
I think so. Might not be as many fireworks as people anticipate because Miami's defense, now they were atrocious to start the year, but they've been really good after that first month. Jalen Ramsey comes back, and they've been dealing with the one I'm looking at. Kyle Hamilton's the big one for the Ravens, but Javon Holland for the Dolphins is the one where I think he's a do-it-all player, much like a little bit of a different build than a Kyle Hamilton, but still, he's really good. Maybe if we're giving scores 23-19, 24-20, I think it's going to be a close one-possession game, but I think some people are calling it like it's going to be last year's Dolphins game where it's 42-38, and it's December football. It's cold out there. Miami has to come up and play the Ravens in that cold weather. Then they do it against Buffalo, New England, and New York every single season. So it's not as big of a storyline, but I think Baltimore gets it done.
Zach?
Yeah, I'm going to almost say the exact same thing. I think it is going to be lower scoring than people anticipate, but I think the Ravens get it done in the lower 20s.
Yeah, I think physical game. Baltimore gets it done, locks up the number 1 seed. The bank and the Baltimore community is going to be rocking and enjoying as the Ravens head into 2024. Brad, I'm assuming behind the scenes you're the same way.
No, first of all, the Ravens are going to win, but I just haven't seen the Dolphins really be all that physical. I mean,
well, I meant the Ravens are going to be physical. Let me backtrack.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens are going to be extremely physical. It's going to be a physical game. That's what I was alluding to.
That's why I think I'll say this. I don't want to pull Mike Florio and say the Ravens are
Please don't. Please don't. Please
but
don't.
I think I wouldn't surprise me if this was a convincing win. If this was like a Lions or Seahawks type game for the Ravens, because we've seen these finesse teams just get their asses kicked by physical teams. I mean, we saw that and I'll go back to the example of the 49ers when they faced AFC North teams. They're 1-3, and I think that there's a very similar parallel with the style of play that the Dolphins kind of bring to the table, at least offensively. I don't think it's going to be like what we saw in last year's game, but I do think that there's a possibility we could see the Ravens win in a very convincing fashion.
I think everyone would hope that. I'd rather not have to do a stress shower after the game like I usually do. Joe, I know you like the stress when I say I sweat so much watching the game because I'm just nervous.
Gotta get the 12:30 a.m. stress shower.
Yeah, can you imagine when I played? When I was playing, I was always.
I was going to say, I hope you would just shower after the game.
Oh yeah. Right. Well, one of these days I'll tell you about a trip to Charleston, South Carolina for a doubleheader. Most I have ever sweated in my life. And we got our asses kicked by the Charleston River Dogs, the Yankees affiliate, unfortunately.
Damn.
Yeah. You hate to see it.
Not the River Dogs.
Not the River Dogs. You hate to see it. Well,
pesky River Dogs.
That kind of covers with our Ravens. We'll dive more into, obviously we'll react in 2024 about that game. And Shekel, I know you're a Fins fan. If the Ravens lose by 18 at home, there are going to be a lot of issues.
Hey, Miami has something to prove here, because the word that I've been seeing a lot with them is paper tiger. Yeah. And what I mean by that is, I'm not discounting what their record is, but look at their wins. I'll list them off: Chargers, Patriots, Broncos, Giants, Panthers, Patriots, Raiders, Jets, Commanders, Jets, and the Cowboys. Out of all those teams, the one that's the Cowboys.
Yeah, and that's their most recent one.
So this is a big game for Miami to say, hey, we can go up against these good teams, because their losses was the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Titans, which they should have won that game. But
yeah, that was.
I don't know. Miami has something to prove.
I got my own thoughts about the Cowboys.
Yeah, we know you do. All right, and for those that are new to the channel, thanks for stopping in. We do this typically every Monday and Thursday. This week it was Tuesday and Thursday. We go live and we have these discussions. We have a good time. We'll have more, episodes, we hope, as we move into the spring, as we get ready for our 2024 schedule. So stay tuned for that. And if you're interested in the channel too, we live stream this, and then we also go back. Tell your friends. We have different videos on different topics besides Baltimore sports, which we're about to get into on some spicy topics, because, man, there are some spicy topics that we want to talk about. But we appreciate you guys all tuning in. It should be a fun week in the NFL so far, but it's still been a chaotic last couple of days, guys. If we're talking about spiciness in the NFL, the biggest spiciness, if we want to start there, what the hell happened in Denver?
Oh my God. I mean, I'm a Nuggets fan, so thankfully the Nuggets are good, but the Broncos are a mess.
The Broncos are a mess. And not only this, Russell Wilson is now, if you haven't seen the report, Russell Wilson is being benched for the final 2 games. And the other reports coming out that he's known about this for months. There's Sean Payton come out and making comments. I mean, Brad, do we start with, do we have that graphic of with Josina?
Yeah,
I don't even know what the hell. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so he's actually being released. Allegedly, what had taken place was that
but in March.
Wilson, right. But he's going to be released at the start of the new NFL season in 24. So what allegedly had happened, and there's some reports from Josina Anderson, which we'll go ahead and quote that in just a moment, but that there was some issues with the Broncos organization wanting Russell Wilson to restructure his contract, particularly or specifically with the injury side of things that would have freed up about, I think, $7 million in cap space for next year. And so Russell Wilson refused to negotiate that contract. And I gotta be honest, I think that there's 2 sides of this argument. I guess two sides where people are kind of like siding with Russell Wilson, and other people are looking at this and putting their GM hats on and be like, hey, this makes sense. And we've seen some diva type qualities from Russell Wilson in the past, so this doesn't really surprise me a whole lot. But we do have some stuff from Josina Anderson, but just as an initial reaction to this, fellas, what are your thoughts on this? We've obviously seen Tom Brady and many other guys be more than happy to restructure contracts if that means that they get to keep key players. And so I understand where Russell Wilson's coming from, but he's getting $37 million in guaranteed money next year, whether he plays or not. Whether he's a Bronco or not. So like
that's go ahead. Finish your thought.
So my thing is like, restructuring for $7 million doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. I don't know. I'm really kind of torn on this. So what are you guys' thoughts on it?
All right, I'll start and then I'll go around to you, Zach, because we've talked about this off air. The biggest thing with Russell Wilson, the guarantees, it's not his fault, by the way, that this was in the contract, what's going on, right? This was agreed to. And for Russell Wilson, you never know what's going to happen with your career. This is the part that is crazy to me, is that the thought is because of the guarantees and your team's not out of the playoff hunt yet. Yeah, it's a long shot. But if these conversations we're having for months, this team, their failures this year was not all on Russell Wilson. And I think that's the part. Yes, it's clear that Sean Payton does not want Russell Wilson as his quarterback. And Zach, like that press conference, it's clear that even though Sean Payton is trying to say the right things, everybody knows he doesn't like Russell Wilson. But if you look at his numbers and you look how Russell Wilson has played, he's been actually a big part of why the team had been playing well over the last 2 months.
He's been playing extremely well. I think he's the reason that they went from 1-5 to in the playoff hunt, and he was honestly probably the main reason. He was looking like Russell Wilson in Seattle. He was making plays with his legs.
And their defense was playing well.
Yeah, the defense was doing what they had hoped would be in the early season. It finally stepped up. Russell was looking good. All of a sudden, it was like, oh, with Sean Payton and Russell, like they're figuring it out. And the whole time we find out they were having this insane drama with his contract. During what was it? They get up to 6 wins straight, 6 straight games.
It was around that, yeah.
Yeah, 5 6. Whole time Russell Wilson knew that they wanted to like cut him, which is just more power to him. But it is a very strange topic because both sides are kind of right. Russell Wilson, they did agree to that contract. He doesn't need to, restructure and take less money. But from a GM standpoint, it does make more sense that you're like, we want to move on because it isn't, I think, a big thing that people forget. This isn't Sean Payton's quarterback. Sean Payton didn't go out and get Russell Wilson. This isn't even the Broncos owner's quarterback. All these moves happened before the Broncos' new ownership got involved. So they aren't all very tied down to Russell Wilson, besides the fact that they gave up a crap ton for him. But now that that's all over, I don't think it's clear it's done in Denver for Russell Wilson, but that doesn't mean that he's not playing well. He's a very good quarterback still.
Yeah, and to point before Kevin, I want you to react as well. The contract, he still had his contract that was signed with Seattle, so that was transferred over. Then there was the extension. But regardless of it, if it's under contract, that's not Russell Wilson's fault. That was his choice. From a business standpoint, you're right. If you want to move on from a guy and he's not your answer, well, then that's a whole different story. But the fact that this was happening so early in the season, and the Broncos went on a 5-game winning streak. That was the total for them. And Russell Wilson's numbers, and Brad, I think after Kevin's part, you can explain a little bit of this. But Kevin, just your thoughts right now, because this is such a, people are so polarized on it because of the news coming out that this has been happening for months. Not this was just a decision made this week. And even Russell Wilson's tweeting now, look forward to the next, I trust in God and look forward to the next chapter. Right. And the season's not over. So clearly this is happening.
Yeah. And again, I think it's taken on, I think, a form that even the Broncos didn't expect it to. I don't even know if they expected to get out in the first place. But the Broncos have every right to say, hey, look, approach Russell Wilson and say, we want to do this. We feel like this is going to help us, clear up cap space. But then Russell Wilson declines it. And at that point, again, I don't know what's going on in the Broncos organization, but it felt like they were almost just waiting for something like this to happen for them to say, oh, like what would have happened if they had beaten the Patriots on Sunday night? Like, I think they have they have an 8% chance now to make the playoffs, but it reminds me of what Dallas, the Mavericks, did last year, where, for people who don't know, the Mavericks still had a shot to make the play-in tournament, but they decided, instead of playing their stars to try to get it, they decided to tank for draft position.
Yep.
And I'm not saying the Broncos are tanking, because clearly from a financial perspective, even though Russ was playing really well, it just does not feel like it's the right fit there in Denver. But again, for Sean Payton to come out and say this is nothing financial, we trust Jarrett Stidham. I mean, can anybody look me straight in the face and say that they would take Jarrett Stidham right now over the way Russell, even if Russell was a mediocre to not even great quarterback? He still gives the Broncos the best shot to win. And to me, if I were a fan of the Broncos, looking at them right now, who wants to go and play in Denver right now? If they say, oh, well, if I don't restructure my contract the way that they want me to, does that mean I'm going to get released or I'm going to get cut? So it goes back to what we were saying about the Ravens, where they're loyal to their guys. And that's not like they don't approach their guys for restructure. We see them do it every offseason.
Yeah. But
there's a different level to it where you entrusted so many assets into Russell Wilson. I get it didn't work out. It clearly didn't. The trade, honestly, was not great for either side. There have been some busts on the Seattle side.
Yeah.
But again, you kind of made your bed there. Now you got to lay in it if Russell decides not to do it. I just think the pure concept of a restructure is not the issue. I think how it was handled internally and what it has grown to become is more the issue for me.
Yeah. And just to wrap this up then, early on in the season, by the way, too, they lost the first game of the season to the Raiders at home, right? And then you lose to the Commanders. You have a big lead early on in the game. Then you lose. You have that Hail Mary that almost works out, but you lose to the Commanders. I'm not sitting here saying that Russell Wilson has been playing out of his mind, right? His QBR, if you look at it, is kind of middle of the pack, but his other numbers look good. He's 26 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. When you look at a guy like Brock Purdy, it's 29 touchdowns to 11. The difference is Brock's QBR is the highest still in the NFL. But Russell Wilson, for all the issues that were going on in Denver, and obviously that 70 burger that the Dolphins put on them was not ideal. There were so many different factors, but if you're going to make a movie, I guess you got to do it. But that does suck. And this is the business. As soon as someone makes a decision on you, you might not like how it's performed, but the organization is going to think one way, and it's not always going to be articulated or put out in a way that's going to make you feel good. And I think this is the scenario that's so strange. And now for the reality is Denver's going to have to look for who their next option is going to be. And Denver right now, if I'm looking at their offense, they're trying to figure out what they're going to be. This isn't a situation where you're going to go, damn, Denver is just a quarterback away right now. You think maybe, but at the same time, you have Cortland Sutton, who's proven his moments. Jerry Jeudy hasn't worked out the way you've hoped for.
He's a Jag.
They've had drama
Just
with Jerry
another
Jeudy
guy.
this year too.
Oh yeah, Steve Smith Sr.
Yeah, and exactly. So that's my point. There's so many other parts of it that are going about. And then also, we're going back to it. They got a chance where things could have really changed, maybe a perspective of it. They go to Detroit and get smacked. A playoff type team. When they won the NFC North. We'll see what happens, but because we're talking about it, just for fun.
First, real quick, I do want to just bring up, shout out Jarrett Stidham. I don't know what it is, but every time a star quarterback or there's some starting quarterback midseason controversy, I swear Jarrett Stidham is the one who is the backup. I don't know what it is, but like he's been with the Patriots, the Raiders. Like whenever you're like, who are they going to? Like they're benching their quarterback and it's like, oh, Jarrett Stidham. And you're like, I didn't know he was still in the league. So Jarrett Stidham, way to just do your thing. He just always finds a way into the most drama-filled quarterback room and he just gets his moment once a year. And it's incredible.
Yeah, he does. And he's had some moments. He's had some moments.
He'll have that preseason run for the Patriots. I'll still remember that the quarterback sneak like 95 yards. Electric. I think he still lives off that. Like that's why he gets contracts. It's incredible.
Hey, you just got to you got to conduct yourself the right way. That can be a whole other different conversation too, by the way, about how you can stay in the league for a while. But for fun, guys, just because we're talking about this as hypotheticals here, we're throwing it out here. A little exercise here that shout out Brad for this, and it made us think: where would Russell Wilson go? Where would we want to see him go? Right. And I think Brad put up that kind of poll of it. Brad, do you want to start this off? I know you're fighting out here. You are grinding. So if you just want to say the team and we can react to your pick, we can do that.
Yeah. So I actually just wanted to kind of the poll has been the most active about this the whole show. So I wanted to give a shout out to those of you guys who participate in the poll. So the options I put here for the folks at home are Patriots, Seahawks, Raiders, Steelers, and 50% of the votes have gone to the Steelers, which I thought was very interesting. And only one vote, it looks like, went to Russ going back home to the Seahawks, which I thought maybe there would be more people that said that. But for me, guys, it would not surprise me. I think that there is a case to be made that Russell Wilson goes play for the San Francisco 49ers next year if Brock Purdy shits the bed in the playoffs. And the only reason that I say that is because we've seen this from Kyle Shanahan before. Kyle Shanahan's going to be putting as a ridiculous team and has a quarterback that still, at least in my opinion, has some questions. And we saw that with Jimmy Garoppolo, took him all the way to the Super Bowl. And then the relationship started to fracture. Could the same thing happen if we see Brock Purdy perform the way he did against the Ravens in the playoffs or against the Rams? I'm just saying, if you put Russell Wilson, especially the numbers he put up this year for the Broncos, imagine plugging Russell Wilson into the 49ers, what kind of numbers he'd be putting up. I think that he actually would put up better numbers than Brock Purdy. So listen, it's pie in the sky stuff, but I think it's just a fun thing to talk about. And it's fun to see, think about Russell being in the golden red.
Yeah, you love the stir shit, Brad. No one likes to stir shit more up than Brad on that. It is. People have talked about other guy with the 49ers connection was Kirk Cousins over the years. I still think Brock's going to be great, but you do wonder. Russell Wilson, to your point, Brad, still a great player, right? I think a team wants him. A team wants him. Like a team is better having Russell Wilson. So I'm with you guys. Who wants to go next? Zach, who do you think?
I'm gonna stay bold. I would love to see the Detroit Lions get him. I know Jared Goff kind of in that not in the same boat as Brock Purdy, but there's a lot of allegations of, is he just a game manager, which is not a bad thing. Does he go above and beyond? It would be interesting, with Amon Raj, Amir Gibbs, David Montgomery, Laporta, all of a sudden, like, you add a Russell Wilson to that offense, it could be scary. Jameson Williams, that's a fun team. And I mean, they're already super fun to watch. With Jared Goff, then you add someone with a more rounded skill set and athleticism that can make plays with his legs. That could be a really fun offense.
Kevin?
Do you want me to go like scorched earth crazy or just where I want him to go? Because I can do either.
Oh boy.
And I'm excited to do either of them.
I think
make the fun choice. Make the fun choice.
Make the fun choice.
Be fun, Kevin.
This is not let's see. I'm gonna go Carolina.
Ooh.
And the reason I say it is because whoever the next head coach is Bryce Young, that guy's quarterback.
Oh,
wow.
That's so
and there's so much dysfunction, it seems like there. We've seen teams move off of these guys. And it's not like Bryce Young is having a CJ Stroud. And again, it's not no fault of his own. It's absolutely dysfunction over there. But if Carolina feels like their defense is good enough, they have Brian Burns is a question. I know we've seen it tonight.
Yeah.
But if Bryce Young isn't that head coach's quarterback, then do they want to bring in a veteran and try to accelerate something? I don't know. I don't know.
I kind of really like that. I really like that idea.
Wouldn't that just turn?
Yeah, like that. That's
down?
One of those. When you first said it, I was like, why would they? And then it was like, that would be one of those situations because, hell, apparently the last Panthers coaches didn't even want Bryce Young. I mean, poor Bryce. I mean, kid's got all the talent in the world. He just went to a dysfunctional organization, but that is an I could see that.
Well,
that's a sneaky good. That's sneaky, really.
I really want to see him go to Atlanta. I just feel like with Bijan and Drake London and they need a quarterback. They need a
someone
quarterback. So that's what I would like to see. But I don't know. Carolina could be a choice.
I don't know. Maybe is Justin Fields going to go to Atlanta?
That's another one.
Could be another option. I'll say this, and I'll put it in the division. Pittsburgh. It doesn't seem like Kenny Pickett's going to be the guy. You have George Pickens. You have Deontay Johnson. Russell, I feel like, would have a good relationship with Mike Tomlin, or Mike Tomlin would try to keep the noise quiet if there's any other antics.
Doing high knees on the plane too.
I think you say that once a show.
Well, if we bring up Russell Wilson, what else am I supposed to bring up about him? When you do high knees on the way to a game and your teammates are upset with you doing it in the aisle, I'm going to bring it up every time you get brought up.
Well, or he's a Super Bowl champion. A lot of people still really like him.
You're a Super Bowl champion until you do high knees on the plane going to. I mean, it worked for him.
I'm even if he does that, I still think he's a fucking champion. I don't think that changes.
Yeah, it just goes.
He might have been eating a danger witch while he was doing it.
Oh my gosh, they need to bring those commercials back. They were so
they were
bad.
Good.
They were great.
They were incredibly
they were terrible.
horrendous.
But it was so bad they were good.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad advertisement. So bad that people talk about it on other things.
Yeah, hey, Joe S. Hey, Brock. That's finances. Nothing. Brad, don't you do it, Brad.
No, the only thing I'll say to this is that Russell Wilson's getting paid $37 million to sit on his ass next year. So, like, if he just wants to go win ball, he could go for less money and be on a championship team. That's all I'm saying. Russell Wilson is 35 years old. Kevin, I appreciate the comment. I don't think that he's going to Carolina to win ball games. I just don't think it's going to happen. Yeah. But if he's 35 and he wants to go get another ring, why not go to a Super Bowl contender? That's just another.
It makes sense. I mean, Carolina would have to accelerate their timeline dramatically, but
I'm trying to just think of, could he end up in like in Arizona if they move on from Kyler? Like, I'm just trying to think of random teams that
back in that division.
Now we're
Does
going.
it go the Vikings? Ooh.
Jeez, now we are really diving deep in this.
Giants
We,
with Daniel Jones.
Good goodness, guys. We're going to have the entire fucking offseason until March to figure this out because he's not going to get traded. It's just, you hope if he's going to get released, whatever it's going to be, we got a long way to talk. Let's keep moving here because we've been going on for a while. We might not hit all of the spicy topics, but the one that we do want to hit, we'll probably skip. You guys have heard Debo got punked, by the way, by Cam Newton. Or not by kids, punked, by kids.
By children.
That were pretending to be Cam Newton texting him, which is just funny as hell. And then Cam reacted. If you guys haven't seen it, we'll talk about it next time. But the one that we really did want to talk about here, and then we're going to do game picks and we're going to get the hell out of here, was Nick Wright on Fox went absolutely off about Aaron Rodgers. And I mean off. Like, I didn't realize it was that crazy. And then holy shirts and pants, I listened to the whole thing and I was like, damn. That was, I see your smiles.
It just kept it was one of those things that just kept going
and going and going and going and going.
He just get like every time you thought, okay, like he just made his point, like he would be like, oh, and then he just dug into Rodgers like I've never seen someone
So
before.
Brad, can we play this video? Oh, you're muted. Muted, Brad. There
I was going to say we can, but I want to give it a little bit of context first because Nick right in the beginning talks about vaccinated and being vaccinated and whatever. So the reason he's saying that is because Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show talking about how, if you're a person of the media and you have something to say about him personally or give any sort of football take, then you should have to give your vaccination status first. As we all know, Aaron Rodgers is kind of really picked on a lot of people who chose to get the jab. And so like, that's where this is headed. And so wanted to give that context before this clip. So just take a look at this and we'll react on the other side.
Thinks that he's the relative on Thanksgiving that nobody wants to, get caught in a corner with because this guy tells you the hard truths. When in reality, it's because you've told me to read 48 Laws of Power and about the Illuminati every Thanksgiving for a decade, and I'm tired of it. Let me be fair. I'm going to do exactly what Aaron said, because Aaron said before you comment on him, you should have to disclose your vaccination status. So double vaxxed, Pfizer, not boosted. Now, does that impact my opinion on Aaron Rodgers? No. You know why? Kirk Cousins not vaxxed. Nobody says a mumbling word about him. I'm pretty sure Lamar Jackson's not vaxxed. I'm not sure. Best I can tell, Lamar Jackson won't even take Dayquil. My guy gets sick every year. He's going to win the MVP. The commentary is not about your vaccination status. It's about you being the most disingenuous athlete of my lifetime. You were disingenuous about the vaccine. That was annoying. Not the status, the way you did it. You were disingenuous about your retirement status. 90% retired. You were disingenuous about coming out of the dark room. I'm going to play for the Packers. That was my only goal. You were disingenuous about how well Verizon works in Southern California. You were then disingenuous about whether or not you wanted Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, Tim Boyle on your team, or if Joe Douglas is just quite simply the worst talent evaluator in NFL history. You were disingenuous about why Nat Hackett's the offensive coordinator. You're now disingenuous about your own comeback, which you were disingenuous about the entire time. So this is not about anyone's private medical decisions. It's about the biggest look at me Louie saying to his best buddy McAfee, why is everyone looking at me? It's so irritating. My God, and everybody knows it. I think AJ Hawk knows it. I think AJ Hawk is watching this like this guy's lost his mind.
Wow.
Holy shirts. Wow. By the way, if you're wondering how many times disingenuous was said, it was 9.
It
was 9.
Did you count?
Oh, I did. 9 times. 9 times was the word disingenuous. I have not heard disingenuous 9 times ever in my entire life. And I just heard it now. It's 18. I've listened to that twice.
That was
epic.
Yeah, he just got on such a rant. And like, I just want to know like what the producer was doing. Like, was the producer in his ear like, Nick, stop, Nick, stop, Nick, stop, Nick?
No, this was gold. This is content gold.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're all talking about, but I know there were people freaking out behind the scenes. Like, what is he about to say after this? Because it started as okay, I'm a little riled up about this. And then I thought he was like going to rip the jacket off.
When,
like
when a guy gets yelling like that, you don't know what's coming next.
Yeah.
You don't know what's coming.
Imagine you're in studio. Go ahead, Brad.
Here's what I'll say to this. We're already seeing kind of like people on both sides of this in our own chat, or in our own live stream, and I kind of see both sides, right? Because Aaron Rodgers, whether he was or was not, has seemed disingenuous. The optics looked that way from, he kind of skirted around whether or not he was vaccinated. We all know that story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like with the whole, going out and coming back, and then with this whole Achilles thing, it's brought on a lot of questions. So, Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest, quarterbacks of all time. You guys know that I'm a huge fan of Pat McAfee, probably one of my biggest idols. But you got to ask yourself, is there a point in time where Pat McAfee is going to have to think about distancing himself from Aaron Rodgers? I mean, this is the second time that Pat McAfee show has been tied to somebody who has been kind of disingenuous or creating some issues like this. I mean, we saw with Jim Irsay and him talking about how he's discriminated against because he's a white billionaire, and like Pat not saying a word about that. Pat doesn't really say a whole lot about Aaron Rodgers' antics, and in fact eggs them on. So you almost kind of wonder at what point, and maybe this is just the hill that the Pat McAfee show will die on, and that's fine. They're crushing it. There's not much that can touch them at this point. You just got to wonder though, like how far can this go before something has to be said or something has to be done about it?
No, I agree. I think that it is one of those things where it's just like, it's just drama. Like it's just added, I don't want to say added content, but it kind of is. Like I think that's why McAfee continues to have Rodgers on, and that's why it's made it such a big part of it, is because of how controversial it gets. And he knows that it will stir stuff like Nick Wright going on an insane rant for however long, 45 seconds, just to kind of get off his chest his feelings about all that. And hell, he even got a personal shout out, and even shout out the McAfee show. So, I mean, it is one of those weird lines of, this is getting a lot of views. People want to see this, but is it the way we want to be getting views because of its controversy and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that ties into this, right? And this, you brought it up, Zach.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you like Aaron Rodgers or not, now next week, probably he's going to be asked about, hey, Nick Wright went after you on the Pat McAfee show. And then that's going to be a conversation, and people are going to talk about it. And that's why you see people when they put out what people look at as quote unquote dumb shit, right? Like, why the hell would you do that? People do it because people like to get pissed. People react when they're pissed off or they're happy or it makes them laugh. It's those emotions, right? But most cases, the most reaction comes on controversy, which you just mentioned, Zach. And no one has been more controversial as far as when it's come to the NFL and to kind of politics, however you want to put it, than Aaron Rodgers. And eventually, Brad, to your question, I think McAfee's going to roll as long as he wants, because McAfee runs the way that he wants to run. And he really kind of embraces what the good, bad, and ugly is going to be on his show. And quite frankly, the people that watch it, whether they like him or not, they keep coming back to watch more.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, you look at what the media meta is today and what gets the most clicks. It's either immense success or drama. You see it with live streams, you see it with content, and you're right, it all just snowballs and spirals. And so, yes, Aaron Rodgers likes to be the center of attention. I think there is no doubt about it. That is kind of what, you look at Aaron Rodgers, great football player, but there has now been, it's not one incident, it's not two incidents, it just continues, another thing pops up. And I think the latest thing with the comeback is, with all this modern medicine stuff he's talked about and everything in every which way and whatever opinions I have about it, it seems like to me the drama, it's helping. I mean, it's getting clicks for Pat McAfee. I don't think he wants to go away from it solely because of that. But again, what happens if it escalates to another level and then another level? And then at that point, do you have to distance yourself? I don't think it'll happen. But with Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he is so unpredictable and he wants to be the center of attention. It's almost like, what storyline is it going to be next week?
Yeah, I mean, this has been happening for years. I mean, this isn't anything new. I mean, it's always been something in the headlines about Aaron Rodgers that isn't related to football, whether it's, his family life, who he's dating. It just always seems like, especially during the off season, it's just like they just follow Aaron Rodgers. Like you say, he's the attention guy. He wants it to be on him. I think, he is one of those people where he loves the attention the McAfee show gives him, and he'll say controversial stuff because he wants to get this reaction from people. So, I mean, like you said, love or hate him, great quarterback, but man, just cannot stay away from controversy. He just loves the camera.
Yeah, holy shirts and pants.
Yeah.
Does he want to be around it? And look, I guess for me, I'm at a point now. You're right. Like I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
I don't.
It's old. It's old at this point.
It's the thing that when I tuned into Aaron Rodgers when he was on McAfee was I just liked hearing the perspective of football. I wanted to hear what was going on when he was talking football. I really didn't care about vaccine, no vaccine, all that type of shit. It doesn't matter. And I think that's where the problem is you're on a platform where you can talk about what you're going to be able to talk about what you want to talk about. But personally, for me, I just want to hear us talk about what you saw because you're one of the best quarterbacks to play. I'd love to hear the shit that goes on. And that's just me personally. So the other stuff, hey, have at it. But if you're going to keep talking about it and people are going to get pissed off about it or engaged with it, then it's not going to stop them from talking about it. That's the reality.
It's true. And I think for me, it's why you watch the Manning cast, right? You want the football perspective, and athletes, they are humans. There are perspectives to them that I like to know about athletes and who they are off of the field and what they like to do, their likes and dislikes and all that. But it's a point now with Aaron Rodgers in particular, where it's gone so far beyond that, where Rodgers has a great football mind. He's someone who's done a lot, and we now know what his personality is. And it's, look at me, I'm here. Don't look at that. Look at me. This is who I am. And I don't know. I feel like there is a different level to it with Aaron Rodgers that we've surpassed now.
Oh yeah, and this point to Bob's place. Hey Bob, was it What we say? Pocomoke. We're bringing it back, but. Guys like, not taking him for Rodgers, don't really care for him, but these guys like Nick Wright fall into this trap instead of just ignoring him. Well, and this is the game of media, right? It's how do you draw attention? Really, it's what it is. And that's part of it. We like being entertained. And that's part of, for me, personally, would I do that of going on a rant? No. I don't give two shits enough to go off, but was it entertaining to some? Yeah, it was. And Nick knows how to push the points, and some people are going to be like, hell yeah, Nick, I'm behind you. And then other people are going to be, well, what the fuck is he getting all upset about? That's just the way this world works. It can be exhausting. We can be exhausting at times, I'll admit, but at least we admit we can try to be exhausting.
Yeah, we try. I mean, it happens.
We try to not be. We try to not be.
Stuff happens sometimes,
Yeah. I mean, just like the we're gonna have to. Joe's asking for your hat story at some point. Zach. We will have to tell that. Maybe wait for when Rocco gets back.
Oh yeah, we do, because he'll enjoy that.
He'll enjoy that. All right, so that kind of covers our spicy. We had the stuff with Debo, but we've been on here for a while, Brad. So how about Brad? How do you feel about doing game picks? Are you feeling healthy enough? Do you want to save the voice?
Yeah, I can do it.
Oh, he's ready. He's
pushing through.
He's coming at his guns out. Well, hey Kevin. We're for you because you're new to the studio here. You're looking good, by the way.
Appreciate
filling
that.
in
Thank
for the
you.
spot.
Thank
And the
you.
NBA Jam in the back is electric.
Yeah.
You ever played NBA Jam? By the way,
No, I want to though.
Oh well, you just wait. That thing is.
Oh yeah.
Is there a leader here of who's the best at it?
Okay, so me and Brad are currently me and Brad are tied career 3-3.
Okay.
Yeah, we're bitter rivals.
Yeah, but I should be up like 5-1. Last time we played 2 games and
you blew
overtime loss.
So you're one of those guys. By the way, the hair or whatever headphones are going everywhere. You're one of those guys like, yeah, no, I should be 5-1, but I lost. But I lost. Yeah, like
well, when I took the extra shot. Well, I had ball up 1 with 3 seconds left, and I threw an alley-oop to myself. 0.2 seconds left, and then Brad hit a full court shot to tie it to send it to overtime. I got too cocky, and then he won an OT. So I went for the specialty, did the little spin in the air, then dunk it. thought it would waste the whole time. It didn't. And
I have no envy for you. I have no envy for you.
Well,
That's
I'll
why
have
you
to
lost.
Put my name. I'll have to get on the scoreboard here. I'll have to assert my
you're gonna
name.
have to put your name in the circle.
Name in the hat.
Name in the hat. Ring in the hat.
Hat in the ring.
Hat in the ring. That's me.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. All right, Brad, let's get some picks. So, Kevin, you can just sit back and relax for a second. We're going to try to go through these picks really quickly. Go ahead, Brad. What do you got?
I was going to ask if Kevin can be quick about it since it's his first time. Rockers.
Kevin,
So
would you like to be
this is full NFL?
Full NFL.
We're just going. Right. We'll just say who we think wins each.
Full NFL. We're going to try to do our it's quick picks. We're trying to keep this under like a 40-second play clock, right?
Let me pulling up the schedule now.
First off, just so people know, we're going to start with the game with the Browns and Jets because it's starting. The big news, guys. We know we were
Amari Cooper.
No Amari Cooper tonight. So Joe Flacco is on his own tonight. Well, he has Elijah Moore, which Zach.
James Prochet.
Oh no!
Ooh. And Njoku is probably going to go off.
Yeah, Njoku's going to have a big game, hopefully.
So, just for people to know, let's go.
Let's start with that. So, New York Jets at Cleveland Browns. Browns are favored by 7. I think the Browns are going to take this one easily. Sorry, if the Browns do lose, Ravens will take the division, but I don't see that happening. I got the Browns taking this one, and it shouldn't be close.
Zach,
hat and T-shirt game. Ravens win the North. Jets win.
I'm taking the Browns. I think they'll get it done, unfortunately, for the Ravens.
Yeah, Brownies at home. Joe Flacco is hot. He's hot. Give me Cleveland.
All right, next up we got Detroit Lions at Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are favored by 6. I know it's at Dallas, but that seems like a bit much to me. It's a lot of points. I'm going to take the Cowboys because of the streak they have been on and just how dominant they have been at home. I think this is closer. I think it's going to be more like the Seahawks game that we saw in Dallas, that it's going to come down to the wire, but I am going to take Dallas -3.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys. They can't lose again, right? They can't, there's no way.
I wouldn't think so. I'll take Dallas undefeated at home. I think they make that perfect this year for right now and go Dallas here.
They are such a different team at home. They are night and day at home. And I think that Dallas, they can't lose again. Can they? Dak's going to have a good game, but Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta combined for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not for any fantasy purposes, though.
Yeah, definitely not for that.
Cowboys win, though.
Next up, of course, we already did this earlier in the show, but just to run it by real quick, Miami Dolphins at Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are favored by 4. I think that's fair. I'm going to take Ravens, of course, and I'm going to just go out on a limb and say that the Baltimore Ravens are going to win in convincing fashion, and I got them. Let's just go 35-21.
Give me the Ravens. I mean, come on, baby.
It has to be Baltimore. I'll go 23-19 as my final.
23-19.
Baltimore wins. I think it's a one-score. I think they cover more than 4, but it's going to be a close one, and everyone's happy and partying, and Zach's going to be somehow in the harbor New Year's 2024. All right, keep going.
Pats at Bills. Bills are favored by 12 points. I don't think it's going to be that much of a blowout. Look, the Bills have been crazy, but they didn't have that great of a game last week against the Chargers. Yes, they won, but the Chargers are the Chargers, and it should have been a blowout. It was not. And I think that Belichick just has the Bills numbers. This is another divisional game. I think it's going to be close. I do think the Bills win, but I don't think it's going to be by no 12 points.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's got to be the Bills. The Bills win this. At home, Bills win this.
If the Ravens win and the Bills win, Bills have a chance to get the East with this. So I'm picking Bills.
And that's the crazy part, too. I'm taking Buffalo, too. The Patriots division game could be closer, but Buffalo, they're going to roll, and hopefully they'll be playing for the AFC. For Buffalo fans, I know Shekel, not you. 12 points is a lot. They could cover. Not for Shekel, though. He would not be happy if Buffalo is playing for the AFC East come next Sunday, but I do think Buffalo wins this game.
I mean, the Patriots defense is better than people think. Falcons at Bears. Bears are favored by 3. Bears. I think the Bears actually win pretty their defense is just so good. So I'm taking Bears easy.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bears. I think, just like you said, Brad, I think it's actually pretty easily the Bears win this.
I'll play devil's advocate. I'll say Falcons. Quarterback's a mess there, but they have talent, and if they utilize Bijan, I mean that's the key.
If they utilized all their freaking insane
I don't know
talent.
if Arthur Smith survives. We'll see.
Oh man,
I don't get it, and I really want to go for my man Heine. I really like what's in Austin Powers. keep your hands off my Heine, baby.
Yeah.
I really want to, but I think Justin Fields, he's playing for every other team in the NFL right now. And I think
picking against Calais like that. You're going to pick against Calais like that?
Wow.
You did it too.
Yeah, no, that's why I wanted to say wow.
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
Justin Fields, I think that the Bears win this game.
Titans at Texans. Texans are favored by 3.5. Last time they met 2 weeks ago, the Texans beat the Titans with Case Keenum at quarterback. It was a tight game. I think Will Levis is going to be back here. CJ Stroud is also back. We don't know how healthy CJ Stroud is going to be, but I think the Houston Texans should take this game and they'll sweep the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, the Texans have to win this for the division. Coming off a loss to the Browns, obviously didn't have CJ Stroud. They take this one.
Yeah, Texans got embarrassed. I know no Stroud. I'm going to go Texans here.
Yeah.
I think Stroud plays. Titans banged. Jeffrey Simmons is not playing, and that's their best defensive player. They've been banged up all year. When CJ Stroud plays, they still got Nico Collins. I think CJ Stroud bounces back in a big way after missing the last couple games.
Next is Raiders at Colts. Colts are favored by 3. I'm kind of surprised that that's a closer game. Vegas didn't have a completed pass after the first quarter against the Chiefs last week. I think the Colts should take this in pretty convincing fashion. The Raiders story has been an amazing one, but I'm going Colts 23-15.
Give me the Raiders. You know what? Give me the Raiders.
I'm taking the vibes. I'm going Raiders.
Yeah.
Colts did not look good last week. I'm taking the vibes.
Yeah, I like it.
You know what? I'm going to take the Colts. I want the Raiders to play well, but here's another thing with the Raiders, by the way. I think in their last 2 games, the defense has scored 4 touchdowns. The defense has scored 4 touchdowns. They're going to have to score.
Imagine when the offense starts scoring. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Yeah, that's what that means.
But give me Minshew Mania. I think they bounce back at home.
It's just not sustainable, right? They can't score another touchdown next week.
Can they? I love the attitude, though. I'm with you guys. Vibes are high in Vegas.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Panthers at Jags. Jags are favored by 7. Jaguars. Nothing else needs to be said.
Yeah, Jaguars.
I don't like this game. I'll take the Jaguars. Jaguars, I think, have lost it, but if they lose to the Panthers, I don't know.
This is just a game like it should there's no reason Jaguars should lose this.
Panthers almost won last week. I mean,
yeah, that's why I don't like it. That's why I don't like it.
Hey,
at all.
Bryce Young had his best game.
Yeah.
He really did. Is he gonna bounce back and have a back-to-back good performances? I don't know, but Jacksonville cannot lose this game at home. Give me Jacksonville.
Yeah. Next up, we got Rams at Giants. Rams are favored by 6. Matt Stafford and the boys got to travel back to the East Coast. Look, Tommy Cutlets isn't in there.
Tyrod Taylor is.
This is
Tyrod Taylor.
legend.
Tyrod Taylor did not have a great game last week, though.
No.
And so, I don't know. I would just leave Tommy Cutlets in there. Rams are going to take this regardless.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I thought you were honestly about to pick the Giants. I was so confused. I was like, "This is the Rams. This is the Rams." Yeah, this is the Rams.
Yeah, I'm taking Rams. Stafford's balling out. They look good. They look really good.
That team looks so good right now.
They do. Outside of the Niners right now, the Rams are the team that I think could have a legit shot to get to the NFC Championship game. Give me the Rams.
Hope the Eagles.
Up next, Cards at Eagles. Eagles are favored by 10.5. Eagles have just been on a weird stretch of games here. They won last week, but I believe they've lost 3 of their last 4. So
and Buffalo easily could beat them too.
I think the Eagles win this game. If they don't win in convincing fashion, I'm really worried about the Eagles. But I'm taking them here against the Cards.
Yeah, I mean, in Philadelphia, if the Eagles don't at least win by 10, it's going to be if it's a 1-possession game, I'm going to be concerned. It's like Eagles have to win this.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a street lamp, a trash can in Philly if they lose this game. Those fans would go bonkers. I'm picking the Eagles.
Place is burning down.
Eagles as well. The Cardinals are still an absolute mess. I think their leading receiver last week was James Conner with like 30 some yards or something like that. It wasn't good. The Eagles, they will not lose this game, but I'm with you, Brad. They can't put away the Cardinals, then we're everybody panicking.
Soldier.
Yeah. New Orleans Saints at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs have won 4 straight games behind Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was like on a $4 million contract this year, 1-year contract with a ton of incentives, and all he has done is ball out. I think he does it again against the Saints. And it shouldn't be close, I don't think, even though the Bucs are favored by 3.
Fun fact: I have purchased a Baker Mayfield Oklahoma jersey before, so I'm going to go with the Bucs here.
Yeah, I'm taking Tampa also. Story, Ravens almost signed him. Remember that? Almost signed him in the offseason.
Yeah.
But I'm taking Bucks.
Yeah, I think Baker's very happy he didn't sign in Baltimore. I mean,
Yeah,
to be
that
honest,
probably would have been a sad. It would be going a lot differently.
Well,
right
especially he's getting paid this offseason. His last 3 games, by the way, Baker Mayfield has 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and those are wins over the Falcons, Packers, Jags. Bucks are playing really well. Big reason, Baker Mayfield. Give me the Bucks.
Let's keep giving that ball to Mike Evans.
Mike Evans, death taxes, and Mike Evans scores a touchdown.
He's the real reason I'm in the championship.
Same. Same. Mike Evans. Let's go.
Next is the Niners at Commanders. Niners are favored by 13.5. Sam Howell's officially been benched. I don't think that's fair to Sam Howell. I think he's better than what people think that, or at least that the organization thinks he is. He just needs the right players around him. But nevertheless, the 49ers, after getting their asses kicked by the Ravens, I think come back and beat the shit out of the Commanders. And you know what? I know it's disrespectful, but I think that's what happens.
Good reference.
That's
Good
reference. I mean, how can you not pick if the 49ers lose this ball game, there's going to be some issues. Then I'm going to start questioning whether or not Brock Purdy's good. But no, 49ers win this easy.
Honestly, it might not be bad if the 49ers win and blow them out because then Scary Terry gets, game script, 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. But I'm picking San Francisco.
Hey, it'd be really great. Not again for my fantasy purposes because I'm going against Christian McCaffrey. How about a Brock Purdy 5-touchdown game to everybody but Christian McCaffrey?
There you go.
I don't think it's going to be good for the Commanders. But hey, it could be good for the Commanders if you look at it this way. Your draft pick's still going to be high. I think they're 3rd in the draft order currently. Go ahead.
Next up is Pittsburgh Steelers at the Seahawks. The Seahawks are favored by 3.5. I think this is kind of sort of like a playoff game for both of these teams. They're kind of on that bubble. Geno Smith is kind of not been 100% since that groin injury. The Steelers have a ridiculous defense, and man, that game last week against the Bengals, they absolutely just look like a completely different team. Can Mason Rudolph continue to chuck the ball to
George Pickens.
George Pickens. I mean, we saw George Pickens hit almost 200 yards last week.
Yeah, like 190.
It could be a similar type game. The Seahawks are not great against the pass, and so I'm taking the Steelers on this.
I'm going Seahawks by a significant margin because I just have not seen this. Every time I think to myself, oh, the Steelers are finally utilizing Pickens. They're finally utilizing their weapons. Then the next week they come out and score 3 points. So
it almost feels like it's like it's a grab bag because they're going to be George Pickens drama this week or not.
Yeah, exactly. Is he going for 200 yards or is George Pickens posting free me on his Instagram bio or story the next night?
Even so, I feel dirty doing this. I'm picking Pittsburgh. I feel like it's just going to Mike Tomlin voodoo magic strikes again. I have nothing else to say about that.
They can clinch over 500 with a win.
Isn't that crazy? Mike Tomlin streaks could stay alive, but
that's why I pick Seattle.
But I don't think it's going to be in Seattle because the weirdest shit happens in Pittsburgh. They just find a way. Pittsburgh's home field advantage or whatever the voodoo they have there. Going out to Seattle. Now, Seattle loves to play close games. They love to make it interesting. They did against Tennessee, but I do think the Seahawks win this game and put away Pittsburgh.
Next up is the Chargers at Broncos. It's going to be a suck bowl, in my opinion. Suck bowl of the week. Broncos, division game. The Broncos are favored by 5.5. I don't even care who wins this game, but I'm going to go Broncos.
Give me Jarrett Stidham, baby.
What was that?
What just happened?
Yeah, I don't know what that
Did I just do that?
I think you did. Yeah, that was one of the.
Did you hit a button?
Yeah, you did.
Did you just hit the rogue? That was so cool. It was like while he was giving his. Yeah. I thought it was super like.
I thought.
Can I hit that again? Is it the blue button? Oh no!
I need access to that button.
I thought that was the suck bowl of the week. I thought that was the suck bowl of the week.
I know
thing. I'm like, oh okay.
Yeah, I was so confused. I was like,
what have I just found over here? Unbelievable. and side note for a second, Brian, thanks for. I saw you're new. Thank you for sticking around. Yeah, we are new. We've been doing this. Guess what, guys? For 3 months.
5 months.
Yeah,
5 months. Brad and I started, but for twice a week consistently since September. And we're only going to be picking up from there, especially with things like this. There it is.
Baby, this is that's so big.
That should be the suck bowl of the week sound.
Yes.
We might have that down
for the suck bowl of the week.
This is beautiful. This is great. But Brian, thank you. Yes, we have a lot more in store, and we will be around, and we think the best is yet to come. Brad, I don't even know where the hell we were. Who are you taking in this game?
Didn't he just?
I think
Broncos or Chargers?
I'm taking Broncos because it'd just be so funny if they won of everything that's happened this week.
Yeah, Jared Stidham, baby.
All right, I do. Yeah, Broncos. Gosh, yeah, Broncos all the way.
Next up is Cincinnati Bengals at the Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 7. This is my dog of the week. I am taking the Bengals here. The Bengals got their asses handed to them by the Steelers. I think they actually have a bounce back win, and the Bengals just seem to have the Chiefs numbers and the Chiefs number, and the Chiefs have been a mess. Last week was no fluke. We've seen some really rough play from the Chiefs in general last half of the season. So I'm taking the Bengals. It's going to be my dog of the week. Probably won't happen, but I figured I got to pick one, so I'm going to pick the Bengals here.
I'm going Bengals too. I think we have some serious trouble in Kansas City. The way that the Bengals are playing right now, they're playing good team football. They just seem to not. They're hot, and the Kansas City Chiefs are not. So
it's almost like the same thing with Dallas. Can the Chiefs really lose again?
Yeah.
Like, are they really going to? I don't. I'm gonna pick the Chiefs. Although Taylor Swift, I don't know what's going on with that.
Oh, is she going? Is she going? Because that's huge.
It's a big swing factor.
That's a big swing factor.
Why are so many people so caught up with it? It really is. Let her
Oh my
live.
gosh.
Let her do her
I do
thing.
agree.
Because he doesn't score when she's there.
I mean, she
doesn't
did.
get hard.
He did score when she was there.
It was like the first time. His stats when she's there versus when she's not there. It's weird though.
Yeah.
So weird. Well, hey, I think the Chiefs win this game. And also the fact that Jamar Chase, when they asked him about the Kansas City Chiefs secondary, did you guys see that? He's
Yep.
like, does anyone else specifically like anything with the Chiefs that they worry? He's like, or is there anything special about it? He goes, nope. To be honest, no. And I think Chris Long even commented or tweeted, well, damn, Snead's a pretty damn good player. I think the Chiefs win this game. And I think that they clinch that AFC West, but in the playoffs, they will have to go on the road to more than likely, though, for Patrick Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl.
Lastly,
Jamar talks like that all the time. Just a side note. So credit to him for not switching up how he talks.
Yeah,
He does
switch
that
up.
all the time.
And in fairness, the dude's a stud. I mean, Jamar Chase is a beast, but he is banged up, and we're not sure if he's going to play yet. But it sounds like if he makes that type of comment, I think we're going to see him on Sunday.
Yeah. Next up, and I think this is the last game. Is there no Monday Night Football this week?
No,
I don't think there is.
No, it's not. No Monday Night Football.
I forgot. Yeah.
Well, this is the Sunday night game. Packers at Vikings. Another shitty game in prime time.
There.
Did you put these in, Brad?
No, they're put in.
Can't
there.
I can put sound on that, right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Okay,
And there's voice changers on there.
So I'm afraid.
Yeah,
are there
this
other
is-
ones if I pressed, what would happen?
I don't know what it is.
Hopefully, there's generic.
Yeah, like
Yeah, they're all default. Like,
oh,
All right. Yeah.
All right. Sorry, what were you saying, Brad?
Vikings
Packers.
and
Packers at Vikings.
Yeah, well, who do you got?
I don't know. Packers.
give me the Packers. Jordan Love.
Big Jordan Love guy. I'm going Packers.
I'm a big Jordan Love guy, and Hall's starting for the Vikings. It feels like they've made a majillion different quarterback changes over the while. Can't get it right. Packers win this game in Green Bay. Or sorry, in Minnesota. My bad. In Minnesota. Skull. Sorry, Big Mike.
Minnesota.
Mike's a Vikings fan. Sorry.
You've gotten that down really quick. You've gotten that down.
Dude,
really
I'm
quick.
so fired up here.
This
All
is
right.
awesome. This is the greatest thing to happen.
Yes. Yes. All right. We're gonna wrap it up and get
There
out of
we
here.
go. What a way to end it.
What a show. What a game. What a sport. Hey, Kevin, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you guys having me on. One quick shout out I want to give here. Andrew Haynes, my third grade teacher, texted me during the show saying he's watching and sees my content everywhere. So small world, guys.
There
I
we
appreciate
go.
this.
Don't you just love it?
Hell
Look at
yeah.
that.
That's what we do.
That's
We
why
do
we
it.
do it.
We do it. So your you said third grade teacher?
Third grade teacher.
So your third grade teacher can comment and say, I'm watching the show. This is what we want on our program.
If you're watching, I hope you did well in third grade.
Probably said that you weren't going to amount.
No,
to
we
anything.
had these things called like mad minutes, like the multiplication tables. I was terrible. So I apologize, Mr. Haynes, for
Yeah.
being so bad.
We'll work on it. We'll
All
work
right,
on
good.
it. Well,
Hey, yeah. Hey, Kevin, like I like to tell the other guys, you're a good kid.
I appreciate
It's
that.
okay.
I appreciate that.
You're a good kid.
Thank you.
And Joe, I think you're right. The soundboard makes the show 100 times better. Just wait until we add our own features into this. You think that it's good now. Holy shirts and pants.
This is gonna get fun.
It's gonna get, and for Rocco coming back. Oh my God.
I hope Rocco isn't watching
Yeah,
this.
you gotta
and
surprise him.
Just,
We gotta surprise him with it.
Yes. Well, hey, guys, if you were new to the channel, to the stream, hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. And if you haven't and you know about our channel, hit that like and subscribe as well. We're here again. We'll be back on Monday, hopefully after a Ravens win to clinch the number 1 seed. Brad behind everything right now. I know he's hiding. Brad, thank you for toughing it out. Hey, round of applause, guys, for Brad for a second.
There we go.
This is showing up to work. There he is.
Go. Yeah, he's just a
Thanks, fellas.
Joe. And the last thing, hey, for Brian again, like it's comments like this. First come out the McAfee show a few years ago. Doesn't happen often, but when the chemistry clicks, it clicks. We're very passionate about what we're doing. We know it's not going to be perfect off the start. It's going to take time, but we like having fun. We know we're going to mess up, but we are going to continue to build something because we have people like you, Brian, that see something. And to be honest, we see it too. So we're excited. We will be back on Monday for another episode of the Ryan Ripken Show. Everyone, have a happy new year. Close out 2023. Great. We'll have maybe some resolutions for 2024, guys. Maybe that's what we'll do. But
use the soundboard more. That's my resolution.
There it is. Well, from all of us here, Ryan, Kevin, Zach.
Hit the thing. Hit the drum. Boom.
Boom.
We'll get better at that.
We'll get better. And for Brad, you guys have a great rest of your night, and we will see you on Monday night for another episode of the Ryan Ripken Show.
Peace.
Oh, no, wrong one.
Oh my God,
It was going so well.
We were doing so good. A couple good kids and Ryan.